we talking about practice? Well, training camp practice. Well, 2 practices because there's so many players they have to split. Anyway, you get it. Oilers training camp on-ice sessions underway today at Rogers Place and the downtown community arena. That'll be a big focus of the show between now and 6 o'clock. We'll also continue to get ready for the Elks game against the Bombers on Saturday. The Oil Kings start their regular season tomorrow in Lethbridge. Then they're in Medicine Hat on Saturday. Golden Bears football has a big home game coming up tomorrow night. And, of course, we also have the Thursday nighter in the NFL to tee up. All on the menu today, but we will start right away with the Oil Understood, presented by GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve the Edmonton and Northern Alberta area for over 50 years, and now a proud partner of Edmonton Sports Talk and the Reid Wilkins Show. GCL Diesel Understood. Along with Jay Milne, I'm Reid Wilkins. Jay, how are you doing?
I am doing just well, just peachy. This is a lot. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of Oilers clips and discussion to be had. So I just want to dive into it. I want to hear all these things.
Well, you're ready to go. You have a football hoodie on.
Yeah, there's gonna be a drone.
To translate for the Saskatchewan people, a bunny hug.
Bunny hug. See, but this is a zip up. I think a bunny hug has to be like
it's just the overhood,
encompassing hoodie.
Yeah.
I just saw this. There's going to be a massive drone show at the halftime of the Bears Regina game tomorrow night from Foot Field.
Oh, incredible. Okay.
I can't imagine how exciting and crazy that'll be. Have you ever seen one of these things?
On television only.
Me too.
I think I saw something on America's Got Talent, by the way, which I should add I don't watch, but sometimes I see bits and pieces of it. Okay, so here's the thing. We're going to have some comments from Darnell Nurse. We're going to have some comments from Vasily Podkolzin. We're going to have some comments from Zach Hyman. But let's start with the head coach, Chris Knoblauch, who spoke a little over an hour ago at Rogers Place after the second of the 2 on-ice sessions. Now, we kind of had some details on the Evander Kane story yesterday and his injury. And Darnell Nurse, as Tom Gazzola on Edmonton Sports Talk first reported last week, that Nurse and Kane would not be, I guess in Kane's case, not playing in training camp, and Nurse maybe not playing a bunch. But Chris Knoblauch was asked today, will Darnell Nurse be ready for the start of the regular season?
I absolutely do, yes. I think I haven't been able to talk to him today. I think he feels pretty good. I'm very confident that he'll play at least 2 exhibition games.
Okay, so... Well, they only play 8, and another way to look at it is a player can play no more than 7 because on Monday they have a split squad game. So maybe we don't see Darnell for the first half of the preseason schedule. Before 3:30 today, we'll get to how Darnell handled this, and he, quite frankly, his media availability started off like the one he did before Game 4 against Dallas, when he really didn't want to say much and was giving deliberately short answers. He was a little bit like that today when asked about the injury. Now, I think when he did that last year, it was a bit of a slap back against people like me who cover the team. I think today it was, and again, we'll get to these before the bottom of the hour. I think today it was almost Darnell, to me, giving the impression I'm healthier than the team is. I can participate at a level more than the team is allowing me to participate in potential preseason games, though he fully took part in practice. I mean, he was out on the ice. This wasn't a player, okay, let's hold him off and he's not even going to practice. So I think this is an abundance, maybe in Darnell's mind, the way I interpreted it, an overabundance of caution with whatever is bothering him.
Yeah, it can be frustrating for a player if you feel maybe that you're ready to go or feeling good enough to go, but it's cautionary at this point is you can go back to Connor McDavid's comments that he made in that interview with Speck about how you don't win in September. You start winning in October. So maybe the whole team's philosophy, and this is Knoblauch's first training camp. Maybe he had a big say in this and saying, whoa, slow down. Let's ease into this, right?
All right. So another question surrounding Nurse is who plays with him. For most of last season, and really the season before that, he played with Cody Ceci, who has been traded. And we've been talking about this quite a bit, Jay, about how that defense is going to look. We know that Ekholm and Bouchard are going to be together at least to start the season. You have Nurse on the left side. You have Brett Kulak returning on the left side. And then in slots 2 and 3 on the right side, we'll have, some newcomers. Even if Stetcher gets in, we didn't see a lot of him last season. So Knobloch was asked today, what's going on? Who is going to play alongside Darnell Nurse?
That is an important factor of camp through exhibition to find that ideal partner. But I think first thing that needs to be done is find the best player or best players to make this team, and not necessarily find the best partner for Darnell first. We want to find out who's the best to make this team. We've got several guys that have an opportunity to do that. And then once we find out which players, then we'll find out the partner. So I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves and say we need to find that partner for Darnell right away. And because also Darnell's not going to play the first few exhibition games. He'll probably sit out the couple just with his rehab. And maybe later on in the exhibition, then we'll be really seeing who his partner should be.
But with that said, you got to write someone's name down. Ty Emberson was the name there.
Ty was the guy today. We'll talk about it after, and we might switch it up. I don't want to get too set on he's our guy in this spot, or same with lines, deep pairs. But Ty had the first opportunity to play with Darnell,
which I think you would expect. He's the guy they traded for. In his brief stint with San Jose, he seemed to show some promise. But I kind of like how Knobloch put that. It's not about finding who gels best with Darnell. It's finding out who excels in training camp and earns the spot. And that's something we've been talking about. And even as Bowman said it yesterday, my interpretation of what Bowman said is that could be an ongoing competition throughout the year. That it could be Ty Emberson for the first 10 games. If Stetcher or somebody passes him, then they're going to get to play more and play with Darnell.
Yeah, I think the defensive combinations will be a lot more fluid than maybe in past years. And I really do appreciate that comment that Knobloch said is best player first. Don't worry about the combination or who's best with Darnell or who's, going to pair up best with him. It's like when teams are drafting and take the best player available, right? And then worry about how you're going to sort that out in your lineup, in your organization. You're getting sense of what the difference here is with a Knobloch-led, training camp. It's really, really slowing the roll on questions like that and identifying that it's actually, we're just trying to find the best player, period.
Yeah. But that's the question mark there, because you have some players coming in with, again, the reputations of still building a reputation, maybe like Emberson or Stetcher or Josh Brown, where it's like, okay, they've been more depth guys or in and out of the lineup guys throughout the course of their career. So that's a storyline on defense, and we'll have more on that as we move along, and we'll hear from Darnell Nurse in a few minutes too. Up front, it relaxed everybody. McDavid was with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. They're not messing with that line. And you'll hear from Hyman a little bit later. I mean, the guy's coming off a historic season. Can he do it again? Which will be a theme as we go along through the show today as well. But it was Leandre, and this was in the afternoon session. So Connor was in the morning or the earlier session, and Draisaitl was on the ice in the later session. His wingers were Victor Arvidsson and Jeff Skinner, two of the new guys. And Knobloch talked about putting them with Leon.
You're saying Connor, sorry?
No, Knobloch talked about putting them with Leon. Knobloch number 2. Let's fire that one.
Those skilled players, you want to get them and being able to make plays, and that's first thing. Being able to get in on the forward check, another thing, scoring goals. But I think with their experience and just their ability to play hockey, they're good quality NHL players, and they've had successful careers. I think they'll just complement Leon's game a lot, and again, they're going to complement. They're going to be good players for our team. Right now, they are playing with Leon, but maybe next week it might be somebody else. But we're adding 2 good quality players. They're going to help our team.
As he said, next week it could be somebody else. But I mean, here's the thing, Jay. You can't. They don't go into training camps that everything's an open competition. Reputation and past performance means something, and I think we kind of knew this would be how it would look off the top, that it would be Skinner and Arvidsson there. So there we go. Away we go with some early storylines from training camp. We're happy to hear from you throughout the afternoon. The EST inbox, 780-218-9999. You can jump into the nasty chat on YouTube, and of course you can email Reid at edmontonsportstalk.com. So we heard there from Chris Knobloch, and I think a word that would describe him through his, what are we at, about 10 months as being the Oilers head coach, 10 and a half maybe, calm. Very calm. Certainly when he speaks, when he answers questions after practice or after games. Certainly when you see him on the bench, he never seemed to show a ton of emotion. I mean, even when they won the Western Conference Final, like he smiled and there was a little bit of a
He's got a cool
fist
demeanor.
Pump,
He's got a cool demeanor.
Was it against? Was it when they eliminated? I think it was when they eliminated LA. He started to go down the tunnel and then realized, I got to go back and shake hands, and you kind of saw a smirk from him. Then.
Yeah.
I mean, of course he has emotions, but he's one of those coaches who has decided it's best if I don't show a lot of emotion. And he talked about that, having coached in junior too, that especially with 16, 17, 18-year-olds, they're going to copy the coach. So if the coach is losing his head and yelling at the refs, they think, even if it's subconsciously, they feel like it's okay for me to do that too. So he's taken that into the pros as well, and I think his players appreciate that. So this brings us to, you're going to like this one, Jay, because you might have an answer for this one. The off-topic topic for William Huff. Since 1952, William Huff has provided industry-leading advertising solutions for thousands of valued clients. Their unparalleled customer service, combined with decades of industry expertise and a desire to make every job the very best it can be, is what they call the William Huff Advantage. Visit their website at williamhuff.com or give them a shout at 780-454-4536. So the off-topic topic, nasties. Now, you are fully authorized to not use real names when you answer this. Tell us about the calmest, or maybe even most disengaged, or the most intense coach you ever had. And you don't have to have played in the NHL. This could be a minor ball coach, a midget hockey coach. I know we have people out there who played, junior or youth sports like you. We might even have some ex-pros listening. Who knows? But tell and a little story. I mean, obviously you're typing it on your phone probably, so you'll might keep it to a few lines. But tell us about the most relaxed or most overly intense coach you ever had. I was originally just going to say most intense because those tend to be, you think that's the best stories, but then I also thought stories about an apathetical coach, or like an apathetic coach, or one who was really disengaged, could be very funny too.
Well, I can't help but in this instance, not even a coach that I played under, but a coach that I have viewed and got to know really well is Golden Bears football head coach Chris Morris, who is very stoic on the sideline, very stoic in person, but he's got that twinkle in his eye, I would say, that would just make people want to run through a brick wall for him. He's got that ability to make you want to literally do anything to get the victory. Literally.
Right.
He's just got that ability, and I've never understood it. There's very few coaches that can do that. It's almost like they've got a nervous twitch, but their face is totally pan, like deadpan. I don't know. It's almost like you're in fear at the same time as you're supremely motivated. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With a coach like that. So send them in. Let us know what your most, the coolest, level-headed coach, and whether you liked it or not. Some people respond differently to coaches, right?
Well, that's a good point too.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if we were to use NHL coaches, would you sooner play for a Knobloch or a Tortorella?
Yeah. I mean, they're already coming in.
We're already getting paragraph-long answers. Okay, this is great.
Yeah, Tube Socks, friend of EST, obviously, and EST winner, or SD winner. I coached with 2 different coaches that managed to actually make kids on the team cry during his post-game talk. These were 13, 14-year-olds. That didn't seem right, he says. I agree with you. These are children, for goodness sake. I have a story. I have a story of a coach that was so intense.
Okay.
And this was when I was probably 9 or 10. Okay. And, so you're playing like pee-wee level football. And his sons would help coach. And they would bring their bikes to practice. They didn't bike to practice. They'd bring their bikes to practice in the back of their truck that they came with. And, depending on how the game went the week prior, when we'd get to practice, they would get on their bikes. And like we're in full strip, helmets, shoulder pads, pants, and cleats. He would get on his bike and we would bike around Sherwood Park in a beeline following this guy on a bike. If you can believe. Like
in full football gear?
In full football gear.
You have to wear your helmets too?
And cleats. Like try running on a cement sidewalk in cleats. And the audacity, now thinking back on it, the audacity of this guy to ride his bike. I mean, if you're gonna, I've seen coaches that'll make their kids run, and their team run, and they'll do it with them.
Okay,
kind of a leadership kind of style. Mm-hmm. Hey, do it. I'm here. We're a team. No. This guy would ride his bike, and we'd be going through the middle of Sherwood Park in the Brentwood neighborhood, running. And I mean, now the cops would be called, surely. But this is like 38 years ago or 30.
Yeah. It's like he's just whipping the kids into shape.
Yeah, I don't know that would even be allowed anymore.
It would certainly raise some. Well, it must have even raised some eyebrows back then. It's like, why is the team running in the streets in their full gear? Okay, so we're off and running on that one.
Yeah, I got to keep track of them.
Okay,
they're coming
that's
in
good.
hot
Yeah,
and heavy.
I didn't know how people would respond to this one, but they're coming in. So keep that coming into the nasty chat and the EST inbox 780-218-9999.
Smash that thumbs up if you are liking this.
Give us some thumbs up on YouTube as well. You know what? We're trying to get to 5,000 thumbs up today.
Yeah, we're going to try. We're off and running. We're at 28. No, just kidding.
Darnell Nurse, what does he have to say about his injury? You'll hear that next on the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
The Oilers started training camp today with all the new guys hitting the ice alongside Mike Hoffman and Travis Dermott, who are on PTOs for their own. Oilers start their preseason this Sunday against the Jets. For the second straight day, Texans running back Joe Mixon did not practice due to an ankle injury. Mixon has 1 touchdown and 184 yards in 39 attempts this season. It's Jets versus Patriots tonight at 6:15. Watch the game with Lieutenant Eric and some of the nasties down at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, where you can find them every Monday and Thursday night throughout the entire season. It was the Blue Jays beating the Rangers 4-0 after being shut out yesterday 2-0 by Texas. Jays get back at it tomorrow against the Rays with first pitch at 4:50. Just after the break, Reid and Jay continue their discussion surrounding Darnell Nurse, where we'll hear a bit from him. I'm Zachary Kubish for your EST Update.
Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Come get your game on at The Ranch. The Ranch lets it all hang out with a championship caliber design, premier conditions, and above all, a fun laid-back experience. Get top-notch service and unmatched value every time you play at The Ranch. Think you have what it takes to go low? The best value for your golfing buck is always The Ranch. The Ranch Golf and Country Club. 10, 50, 100, and 200 round packs on sale. TheRanchGolf.com.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki with like a giant eagle's wings and singing lead vocals for Leonard Skinner with like an angel band. And I'm in the crowd hammered drunk.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
Few of us can say that we're over 60 and still hot, but Mr. Mike's Burger can. And to celebrate over 60 years of Mr. Mike's famous burger, you're invited to taste history for only $8.99 at Mike Burger Madness. Savor the original flame-grilled Mike Burger on their signature garlic French loaf for a limited time. Dine-in only price of just $8.99. Sides extra. It's Mr. Mike's Mike Burger Madness, and you'd be mad to miss it. Offer ends September 30th. Eat locally, enjoy casually.
Is my chair too low again? Remember the first show? I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's good.
Hang on. What button is it? No, that's the wrong way.
If you feel that Reid's chair is too
Let's go
low,
up.
chime in. Let us know.
See, this is why I need a headset, so I don't have to worry about being positioned, because I enjoy being able to move around and move my head and look around. And then if I had a headset, I could crawl around on the floor. Still do it.
I don't know about that.
Well, only the people watching on YouTube would be curious where I went. This is indeed the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. We are getting you ready for the first Oilers preseason game on Sunday. The Elks have a regular season game at 5 o'clock on Saturday against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Coverage here on Edmonton Sports Talk commences at 4 o'clock with the Green and Gold kickoff show from Century Casino with Matthew Wannick and Jay Milne, and then they'll be back on after the game for the Green and Gold postgame show. Elks defensive back Devodric Bynum scheduled to join us a little bit later on.
There were some terrible coaches out there.
I bet you there were.
There were some real.
Well, give us one or two examples. Our off-topic topic.
It's just going to turn into tell us a story about the worst coach you had.
Yeah,
I think.
the most intense coach you ever had.
Well, this was in reference.
I guess we're just doing the opposite of Knobloch.
The opposite of Knobloch, because obviously he's very cool,
he's
calm,
intense,
and collected.
but he's not
yeah, he's got a
theatrical. Yeah.
I mean, he was a defenseman by trade back in the day, so he's got a mean streak in him. He just chooses not to show it, or has the composure and ability not to. Totally opposite from me. Justin of Balgoni, our head coach in novice hockey, kicked the door and called us all losers. Joel, it was for soccer, and my friends were on the opposite team, and someone on my team kicked my friend in the stomach, and I went after that person on my team, and my coach benched me till I calmed down. That's a good coach. That would
You got to calm down. Then again, your teammates shouldn't be kicking you either.
Well, it was her friends that were on the. Her friends were on the opposing team.
Her friends were on the opposing
and
team.
one of Joelle's teammates kicked her personal friend. And
okay.
That would be an awkward situation. Rob the plumber. Hey guys, when I was playing U18 soccer, we had an Army Reserve drill sergeant for a coach. Needless to say, he was a hard ass, but once we got through the feeling it out stage, he was one of the best. Grateful for what he instilled in me in that team. So there is
that's a great story.
There is two sides to every story for sure.
Well, there is nothing. I don't think there's anything wrong with, even if you're coaching little kids, to trying to have structure and order and discipline. And hey, guys, now it's time to listen.
Yeah.
But I think especially with really young athletes, I don't have kids, but there'd be a point where you would realize their execution perhaps will not be perfect every time, and they don't need to be punished or disciplined every time.
You can learn from things too. I wanted to point this out. You brought this in, right? This is what the media was given down at the rink. So this is the Group 1 group and the Group 2 from the Oilers training camp. And I will note that of the lineup combinations that have been out there and floating around as to who's with who, it would appear that is the case based off of these two groups. Okay, so obviously we had McDavid, Nugent Hopkins, and Hyman together.
Yes,
and then fourth line forward group that's been floating out there is Derek Ryan, Corey Perry, and Podkolzin.
Yes.
They're also in the same group. Janmark, Henrique, and Brown.
They were aligned.
They're in the line in the same group, and obviously Draisaitl, Arvidsson, and Skinner.
So that's the top 12 right now.
And it would just add to the I guess, debate as to if those are actually the lineup combinations that are being set. They are skating in the same group. So something of note. Interesting to see. Anyhow.
Well, yeah. Well, Leon was in the afternoon.
That's right. With Arvidsson and Skinner.
Right. So Connor and Leon's lines were on different groups, which is usually how. And then usually tomorrow they'll reverse who skated early and who skated. Oh, Zach Hyman, by the way, had him and his wife had their third child.
Ah, congrats.
Cam, just yesterday.
No way.
Yeah.
Holy,
and we'll hear from Hyman as we move along this afternoon. Okay, and thanks for you guys checking in, 780-218-9999. And we're going to get to some other Oilers clips here, and then some other Oilers. Well, these aren't exactly storylines today. That's going to be in my top 3, but you'll see once we get there. So we have video here for as well. This was Darnell Nurse at the start of his scrum today, answering questions about this quote-unquote injury. Here we go.
And just, is it just contact that they're holding you back from?
Oh, they get to answer that. I'm not going to dive into the injury or whatever. I got to dive into it.
Are you confident that you'll be good to go when the season begins?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident, right?
I mean, you seemed how do you feel, Darnell? Because we were watching you out there, and you did most of the drills and kind of
all of them.
Yeah, you did all of them. So you didn't seem to be backing off.
Yeah, no, it definitely wasn't. Yeah, I mean, it's a fluid thing. Take it day by day, but I'm feeling good.
You have this shortened off season to try and regroup, recover from whatever injuries you've got, get ready to go. How different was that for you to have the timeline so compressed and be managing an injury at the same time?
Yeah, it kind of forced me to kick my feet up and relax for the first time, and it was good. I think for me, that's just the relax, get away from everything, reset, and it was a great summer.
What'd you do?
Relaxed. It was a good summer.
Okay. I want to know what you think. And look, I want to be clear. I'm not trying to blow anything out of proportion. And quite frankly, I don't get. I wasn't upset when Darnell did that during the playoffs last year. I just thought if you're going to do that, you better go out and have a hell of a game, which he did. I kind of said what I think. What do you think about how he addressed or didn't address this injury?
I thought that was what I just saw on that video. Because let's fill people in. I don't like to often hear the clips or see the videos that you're cutting because I want to react to them honestly and live. And that video that I just saw of that player shows somebody that does not feel that they need to be kept out of the lineup and would much rather be included in the practice.
Well, he was a full participant in practice, as he said. Yeah,
but he is being held back and held out of some preseason games upcoming. So. Obviously there's a reason for that. I just think that's, to me, that is a very, very positive response from Darnell Nurse. That is a player that is itching to get out there, itching to be a part of every part of this training camp with his teammates, building that bond, sweating it out, bag skating, whatever you want to do. That is what I saw was from a competitor. As somebody that wants to be there and be involved, not somebody that is, having their time limited or their ice time in games or what have you, right? I think that's a very positive thing coming out of that.
I almost feel like, and I guess he can blame / thank Tom Gazzola for this because he was the first one to report it. It almost feels like Nurse just wishes whatever's nagging at him wouldn't have even been public. Because quite frankly, if he would have not got in until the third last preseason game, I don't think anybody would have really batted an eyelash anyway.
That's also a good point. Yeah, it could just be more questions like this that he's like, oh gosh, like really, guys, But I mean, everybody's just doing their job, asking and prying for the questions as to what's going on. But you get a sense that it's obviously not as serious or not serious at all, and just how competitive he is to want to be out there.
And here's this was circled back to at the end of the media scrum. Here's a quick other snippet from Nurse answering questions.
Rearview mirror, do you think? Or is it going to be something that you kind of have to monitor even after the season begins?
What thing?
Your ailment.
My boo-boo? Should be fine.
I love that. My boo-boo.
Yeah, well, Obviously, this is not really something that Oilers fans should be too concerned about.
I feel like this is a story because it's the start of training camp, and it got out there, and they have said, okay, I guess here's the thing. They play 2 games at the same time on Monday, so almost everybody's going to have to play. And I guess as a side note, if you're, and I don't know for sure, but if you're going to Rogers Place for the game on Monday against Calgary, you might see some star players because maybe they'll say, okay, Connor and Leon, you're playing earlier than usual, but we won't make you go to Calgary. Maybe they're both in the Edmonton game. I don't know. But Darnell probably won't be in that game, but he might have been under if he could choose that he that he would have been there. He would have been there. Anyway, a little bit there from Darnell Nurse. Another storyline: Vasily Podkolzin, who was acquired from the Vancouver Canucks in the offseason. We've been talking about him. We've been talking about that really good rookie year he had, and then some inconsistency, and also battling through an injury. He hit his head on the ice after he got hit in the corner almost a year ago. The most interesting thing he said to me was this answer when he was asked about how he gets more traction with the Oilers than he did with the Canucks.
It's a good question. It's hard to say right now. So sometimes it's just situation was not good for me, and maybe time was not good for me because, when I come to Vancouver, it was a little rebuilt out there, and three different coaches, 2 general managers, and sometimes it's tough to accept. It's tough to find a great way for me and a great relationship between both of us. But on the same time, they give me first couple steps on a NHL of pro hockey and on a highest level hockey, and this I really thankful for that. But on the same time, it's time to move on and time to show good hockey.
So, what do you think, Jay? When he and they did have the coaching changes there, right? Because it was Green, and then it was Boudreau, and obviously that was a whole mess the way he was let go, and then it was Tocchet. How do you feel? I mean, as someone who played at a pretty high level, how do you feel when a player says, "Well, there was too much change, and I couldn't really get any footing"?
Well, I mean, can you imagine at your tender age of 20 years old or 19, coming to a new country, coming into a team that was not cohesive, not moving in the right direction together, coaching changes, all this stuff happening, and although there were flashes of brilliance earlier, obviously that wasn't the case, and that's obvious why Vancouver deemed it correct to move on from Podkolzin. But what a better opportunity. I mean, tell me one other better opportunity than coming into this Oilers team as no pressure, hardly any pressure on you. In fact, don't really worry about scoring so much. Just try go out there and be physical. Right. Use your speed or use your size. The other top 2 lineup forward lines will get the job done and score the goals. You just go out there and be physical. No pressure. I don't know how you could, this is a great situation for him to be in as still a young hockey player, having a chance to go down the lineup a bit and just be physical, right? Am I wrong? Am I missing something?
Be a noisy player like we talked about yesterday.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's fair. All right.
And it also allows you to just, lose the distractions. Just be physical. That's sometimes a lot easier than trying to have a lot of different, game plans or how you're going to manage this game or how, just go out and be physical. Simplify things for this young player. And thankfully on the Oilers, there's other players that can handle the scoring, obviously.
All right. So more on Podkolzin, but more with Zach Hyman as we roll along today. Of course, more from you at 780-218-9999. The Western Hockey League season, including your Edmonton Oil Kings, ready to go tomorrow. The Oil Kings are going to be in Lethbridge. Guy Flaming from the Pipeline Show when we bring you back.
Shohei Ohtani stole his 50th base of the season in today's win against the Marlins. Ohtani is 2 home runs away from becoming the first player in MLB history to have 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases in a single season. The Blue Jays beat the Rangers 4-0 after being shut out 2-0 by Texas yesterday. Jays get back at it tomorrow against the Rays with first pitch at 4:50. Oilers started training camp today with all the new guys hitting the ice alongside Mike Hoffman and Travis Dermott, who are on PTOs. Oilers start their preseason Sunday against the Jets. For the second straight day, Texans running back Joe Mixon did not practice due to an ankle injury. Mixon has 1 touchdown and 184 yards on 39 attempts this season. It's Jets-Patriots tonight at 6:15. Watch the game with Lieutenant Eric and the other nasties at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, where you can find Lieutenant Eric every Monday and Thursday night throughout the entire NFL season. After the break, Guy Flaming joins Reid and Jay here on the Reid Wilkins Show. I'm Zachary Kubish for your EST update.
At Mind 360, we invite you to embark on your mental health journey in a safe and comfortable space. Conveniently located in St. Albert, Mind 360 has a diverse team of experienced clinicians that offer a broad range of tailored services for children, adults, and families. Furthermore, we are very proud to serve our military, veterans, and first responders. If you're looking for counseling, treatment, or assessment, understand that you are not alone. Contact Mind 360 at mind360.ca to book an appointment today.
Food Sausages makes their meat with nothing but the best local ingredients. From chicken, beef, and pork, their gluten-free sausages are packed with flavor. Every single bite. Get a 10% discount when mentioning Edmonton Sports Talk in-store or use the code EST when shopping online at foodsausages.ca. Plus, you get free delivery on orders of $100 or more. Find them at 6736 99th Street. Food Sausages. You can't beat our meat.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for signage from print to design and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of experience, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. Visit us online at williamhuff.com.
Well, we have a winner. We have a winner of an Esty standing by to join us. Friend of EST of the Year, presented at the Estes on Tuesday at the Garneau. Longtime host of the Pipeline Show. I am pleased to be joined. Well, we are pleased to be joined by Guy Flaming. Guy, how are you doing?
Hey, Guy, do you have your mic muted? Sorry, we might have to have you reconnect.
We don't have his audio, but he had his SD there ready to go. Oh. I feel bad because he clearly had prepared remarks. Here he is.
Oh, there we go.
There he is. Okay. I think we have you. Do you want me to start over and reintroduce you?
Take two.
Okay, take two. Here we go. Hey, welcome back. Hope you're having a great Thursday afternoon. We have a winner joining us, a winner of an Esty presented Thursday at the Garneau, friend of EST of the Year from the Pipeline Show, Guy Flaming. Guy, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. You know, you plan a bit and then you forget to turn on your mic and the whole thing is shut.
We can try again. Nobody heard it, so lay it on us. Lay it on us. Yeah,
that's all right. What a night, though. Hey, when you go back a couple of nights ago and just if you would have said 3 years ago that something like that was going to happen in this market, nobody would have believed you. But that was so much fun. And congrats to everybody at Edmonton Sports Talk and all the nominees. And I was very, very excited and happy to come away with a little trophy. It was awesome.
I mean, you do great work and you do a great show. And I mean, you and I have talked before, and I know obviously you worked with Andrew and some other Oil Kings play-by-play voices over the year. But remind everybody, because to me, somebody said to me, how long has he been doing the Pipeline Show? And I said, I don't even know. It's just part of the fabric of the Edmonton sports scene. How long has the Pipeline Show been going now?
I had no gray hair. In fact, I might have had a little more hair, and I only had one chin back then. So that was 2006 when it started. And back at the time, it was Team 1260. So it was way even before TSN was around. And it's been a long time, but thrilled to still do it. It's still a lot of fun for me. And I'm glad that people are still listening.
I know Jay wants to get in here with some questions, but I just want to stick with this because I enjoy stuff like this, the stories behind this. What prompted you to get it? Was that the return of the Oil Kings? Did it coincide with that, or what prompted you to get the Pipeline? Oh, that was before even.
Yeah, I was doing. Remember, this is the early days of the internet. Even there was a hockey magazine called Hockey's Future that was out back then, and I was the Oiler prospect guy. The Oilers weren't even my team. I never was an Oiler fan, but because I was here in the Edmonton market and looking for something to do, I started writing for this website, and that led me to starting to do all these guest spots on other radio shows in the market. And then after a while, I thought, well, if there's this much interest in prospects, why don't I have my own show? And so when Team 1260 came around, I pitched the idea to Bryn Griffiths at the time, who was the program director. He said, great idea. Who's going to host it? I'm like, well, I kind of thought I would. He looked at me like I had three eyes and said, you have like no experience. Like, why would I put you on the air? He said, find somebody to do it with you and who's got some media background. And the short list had one name on it. And thankfully, Dean Millard was all over it. So he and I kicked off the show in February of 2006. And he was with it for 12 seasons. And the rest is history.
I got to say, the one thing that impresses me about you and other people who really dive deep into the prospects, the pipeline, so to speak, and you're probably going to laugh at me saying this, but I think you'll also understand, is like you're expanding it from either 9 CFL teams and 32 NFL teams to the 60-some junior and the best NCAA programs, and you should also know about Tier 2 junior because you might have the odd Cale Makar out of like, how do you keep it all straight? That's what I find amazing.
Well, honestly, it's time. It's just taking this long to really have a firm grasp. And thankfully, having done it for this long, you have a pretty good network of contacts throughout the queue. And if I need a guy from the Quebec, I can call Ray Kluche. He's the play-by-play guy for the Quebec Rempart. I have him in my phone, so I can just text them whenever, or there's people in the States that I can text if I want to talk USHL or NCAA. And so thankfully I have that network of contacts to kind of keep me up to date. And social media is a mess, but in one small way, it's good for being able to keep tabs on stuff like that. So there's ways around it, but yes, it is definitely a monumental task for one guy to keep track of the entire world of hockey prospects.
Well, Guy, I mean, obviously we got to dive into the CHL, WHL, and the 2024 CHL preseason top 10 came out, I believe, yesterday. 3 WHL teams made that list, including the number 1 ranked Medicine Hat Tigers, who are looking for their first Memorial Cup appearance since 2007. So this is, I'd imagine for them, they've got some good recruits coming in, or some good team, I guess, age on their team, or what defines them being able to be ranked number 1 in the country in the preseason?
They have a lot of talent. They have a lot of offensive talent, led by Gavin McKenna, who last year he had 97 points as a 16-year-old in the Western Hockey League. It's ridiculous. He's not draft eligible until 2026. So he's got this year and next year in the Western Hockey League. And that's going to provide hockey fans a lot of opportunity to go watch this guy, because he is going to be a future NHL stud. He's very much in the grain of a Connor Bedard. So if you were wanting to watch future NHL talent, you made sure that you went to watch the Regina Pats play. It's going to be the same with the Medicine Hat Tigers. He is a star. But then they got Caden Lindstrom, who was a top 10 pick. They have Andrew Basha, who's a draft pick of the Calgary Hitmen. They just acquired Ryder Ritchie, who's a second-round pick of the Minnesota Wild. They have a lot of talent.
How does a team, how is a team able to accrue all of this talent at the same time? I mean, obviously, we're used to the professional ranks of salary caps and whatnot. But in the CHL, I mean, the list of what you're just saying there would definitely lead me to believe otherwise. Can you speak a little bit more on that, Guy?
Junior hockey is very much a cycle. You are going to be a contender, and then you probably have a bit of a drop off, and it's probably like a 5 or a 6 year cycle for most teams. You're going to be at the top for a couple of years. You're going to suck, and while you suck, you're getting a lot of draft picks. And the year after you're a contender, you're probably trading away some talent to recoup those draft picks. So it's just a cycle like that. So 3 years ago, Medicine Hat was the worst team in the league. The year that the Edmonton Oil Kings won the WHL championship. Where were the Oil Kings the year after? Dead last.
Yep.
Where are they now? On the way up. So it's just that cycle of junior hockey. Quite honestly, that's what makes it fun.
Well, and I mean, speaking of the Oil Kings, I found an interesting stat. They scored nearly 100 more goals last season than the year prior. So 227 goals scored last season, 131 in 2022-23. Yeah, I'll say they're on the rise. But I wanted to dive into that a little bit more. By all accounts, it looks like they'll have the ability to increase on that goal scoring again. Mm-hmm. But the key is reducing their goals against, obviously. And in team history, they've surrendered 300-plus goals 3 times. That's happened twice in the last 2 years. Do you think that the Oil Kings have the defense/goaltending to not make this 3 years in a row?
Yes. The short answer is yes. 2 years ago, they were the worst team in the league because they had just come off a championship run. So all of their best players were gone. Think of Caden Gooley and players like that, Dylan Gunther, Jake Neighbors, all gone. And sometimes your best defense is to have the puck all night. And the Oil Kings in 2022 had the puck all night. So the next season, they expected drop off happened, and they struggled. Last year, the biggest opponent for Edmonton was staying healthy. Their defense last year was good. They returned just about everybody from last year's team to this year. They're just all a year older and more mature, but they need to stay healthy, and that was the biggest obstacle for them last year. I think the only defenseman they don't have back from last year is Marc Lajoie. Outside of that, guys like Blake Fiddler is back. Reese Peterson, who was just at Oilers camp, he's back. Ethan McKenzie is back. Parker Alkos, drafted by Vancouver a couple of months ago, he's back. So everybody is going to take a big step forward this year, and I think that's going to lead to a lot less goals against.
Well, and this is the part of having a show that's live, a show that is also being streamed on YouTube throughout. As you know, people can chime in. And Dawson Nielsen has an interesting question here he wants to ask. Who should we watch on the Oil Kings? I know you mentioned a few teams, but does opening up the NCAA route help more Americans come to the CHL, or does it help, or does it offer the ability for more Canadians to take the CHL route?
I think the biggest impact we'll see should be more Americans coming up. And also Canadians who like Owen Power or Adam Fantilli, who decided to go the USHL route, Max Celebrini, all went the USHL route instead because they wanted to play college hockey. Those guys now don't have to do that if they don't want to. So I think the only area where it won't change, I don't think, will be the 25 guys who play for the U.S. National Development Program. To me, that's still the best development model on the planet for 17-year-old kids. But it's a very small select number of players, and only from one nationality, that have that opportunity. Everybody else, why wouldn't you come to the CHL? It's way better than the USHL. And if you can still play college hockey when your junior eligibility is done, well, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. I remember that Oil Kings team from a couple of years ago that just couldn't score. And I know talking to people with that team, it was never work ethic, but that's tough, right? When the kids are working, but there just wasn't the finish and they don't get rewarded. Sometimes it's hard. Like, hey guys, keep doing it. And they're feeling like we never get a goal no matter how hard we work. But you're right. They're on the way up. I want to throw a couple more at you here, because the one thing that I saw, with obviously like everybody here, we've watched NHL our whole life, but then doing those Oilers broadcasts with 11 years, and Rob and I would talk about it, like just the speed, and kids coming up like never having had a 2-line pass, like the stretch game was already there.
Sure.
How, like, from what you see from the junior age, like you mentioned the 16-year-old McKenna coming in, like how fast is it getting in the junior ranks, and how fast a league is the NHL going to get? Like, are we reaching a limit, or do you think there's still way more speed to come?
Yeah, no, I think it's still evolving, and it's certainly become a much more faster paced game. Like you think of not just the NHL, but lower levels 20 years ago, and what the difference is. Much more emphasis put on size 20 years ago, although I think that is starting to kind of trend back a little bit as well. We're seeing some teams in the WHL this year, absolute monsters, 6'4" and above, where you might have 2 or 3 guys like that. Now there's like 7 or 8 on a team sometimes. So size might be trending back, but only if you can skate, only if you can move the puck, and only if you can have skill as well. So it's not just like a big Coke machine or statue out there that you have to deal with. Certainly fighting is almost gone from junior hockey now. It still happens every once in a while, but I think everybody is concerned with the health and safety of players, especially at the junior level now. So I think that's kind of disappearing from the game just naturally. I know the Quebec Maritime Junior Hockey League outlawed it. They actually wrote it into their rules that now guys are getting suspended if they're involved in fighting. I don't know that the Western Hockey League has to go that step, because it's kind of on the way out anyway. But just like, hey, you when they introduced helmets, took a while. You had to grandfather it in. There was still Craig McTavish out there playing without a lid, but now everybody's got one. Same with the visors. Now it's going to be neck guards. I think the evolution of the game just keeps going, but we see it at the junior level too.
Yeah.
Key, I want to just step into the professional ranks here and go into a little segment we had yesterday. It was Reid's top 3. We do it every day, and yesterday's was very much so hockey related, in which he offered 3 rule changes that he would maybe like to see implemented and brought into the NHL.
Okay.
So I'm gonna. We had a lot of people chime in on this yesterday, and as you're obviously a hockey guy and an Esty winner, I mean there's got to be some you got to know what you're talking about, right? But I'm gonna tell you the 3 rules. There it is. Yeah, show that baby off. That's good.
Right
yeah,
here.
You deserve it. I'm going to let you know the 3 rule changes that Reid proposed, and I want you to rank them in order of what you think is best down to maybe not best, but second best.
I stole
third
one
best.
from the dub, so he won't be surprised.
Okay. That's right. You did. That's true. Okay. So number 1 was the changing of the scoring system. So 3 points for a win, 2 points for an overtime win, and 1 point for an over, or no, it was just 3 and 2, or did it go down to 1?
3-2-1-0.
3-2-1-0.
Yeah.
He knows.
Okay. Second was an inadvertent a puck that went in inadvertently off of offensive player's skate and into the net would be disallowed if that skate was in the crease, essentially.
That's
and
the WHL rule.
Yeah, and the third one was on the power play, if to eliminate or to include icing for the defensive zone team. If they ice it, it's actually an icing. What do you think on that?
I'm actually on board with all 3 of those. I don't dislike any of them. In fact, when you first posed the question, the first thing that came to my mind was the WHL rule about pucks off the skate, because it's the best rule. And I think the OHL and the Q still don't do it, and I know it's not the case in the NHL. But it takes all the guesswork away. There's no, was it a distinct kicking motion or anything like that? For the listener and the viewer, the rule is you can kick the puck in if you want, Pele style. You could, like, theoretically bicycle kick it like a soccer player and put it in the back of the net, as long as it's not in the blue paint. That's it. The rule is the blue paint. If it goes in off your foot in the blue paint, no goal. So it's not about, okay, was this guy trying to kick it in? Did he redirect it? A little shuffle of the foot? Doesn't matter. Outside the blue paint, it's a goal. It takes all the guesswork away, and from the referees, the officials, it's just cut and dry. It's the best rule.
How does that rule only in the dub and not in the O and the Q? Like, I mean, when you get to the Memorial Cup, what's the rule?
I think it's based on who's hosting, the league that's hosting. You play by their rules.
Yeah. Unreal, hey?
Yeah, it's like the old American League, National League, and the
I guess the designated hitter. And sure.
Who's hosting the game? All right, Guy. We want to, if you are willing, we want to have you on throughout the season because we'll focus on the dub obviously, but you know all the stories and the players who are going to be coming through. But of course, people can also get the Pipeline Show here on EST every Saturday at noon, right?
Saturdays at noon after Hello Hockey, and Monday evenings at 8. But that can change because the Oilers pre and post game shows. So it kind of depends on the schedule for those two. But
and who do you have coming up on this Saturday?
Well, this weekend is the final of the WHL team by team preview. So for the last 5 weeks, I've been talking with either a head coach or a GM or a media guy from each team in the league. So 4 more teams to get to, including the Edmonton Oil Kings. So conversation I had with Kurt Hill just about an hour and a half ago. That'll be
good
on this week's show. They just added a new player, by the way. They got Grayson Sauchin's little brother up from the USHL, Lucas Sauchin.
Yeah.
Speaking of guys who are intending to go to college, I guess technically 3 years from now, he might still be able to go play at Denver.
Right. And Grayson's Panthers property?
Yes, he is. Yeah, second-round pick of the Panthers. So he's still away at their camp right now. In fact, Edmonton's got 6 guys still at NHL camps, including Marshall Finney, who's just a camp invite to the Toronto Maple Leafs camp.
Okay, awesome. Hey, Guy, this was a pleasure. Again, congratulations on the SD, and man, we're coming up on 20 years of the Pipeline Show, which is awesome. We'll talk to you again soon, my friend. Thank you.
Awesome. This has been fun. Thanks, guys.
There's Guy Flaming from the Pipeline Show with a bit of a WHL preview and an Oil Kings preview. They are going to be better. They are on their way up. But as he said, watch out for Medicine Hat, I guess, is one of the top teams, which will be fun. Okay, it's 4 o'clock. We got a break. We got a sports update. We got my top 3. It's an Oilers-centric topic. Also, Elks DB Devodric Bynum is going to join us. Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Get all the latest news and takes on everything Oilers with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola on the Oil Stream. Live at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Conveniently located 10 minutes west of St. Albert, Wheeler's RV Storage will provide you with safe, secure storage for your RV, boat, or whatever you need to store. Open 7 days a week with gated keypad access and extra large stalls. Now is the time to take advantage of their limited time offer. Buy 6 months and get 1 month free. Now's the time to go to WheelersRVStorage.com. That's Wheeler's RV Storage. Safe, secure storage. Visit them today at WheelersRVStorage.com. If you've been injured in a car collision, let James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, protect your interests. They'll be there every step of the way to help answer your questions and help you get your life back on track. Trust Alberta's precedent-setting injury lawyers with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, call James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, 780-428-0088, or go to JamesHBrown.com.
Gallo LLP is an Alberta-based accounting firm with expert chartered professional accountants in both our Edmonton and Sherwood Park accounting firms. Our experienced and innovative accountants provide financial advice that saves our clients money. Simply put, we help our clients protect their assets and grow their businesses. At Gallo LLP, they go beyond the numbers to ensure the continued success of your business. Reach out to Preet or John to discuss how they can help your business grow. Visit GalloLLP.ca today and see how they can help you take your business to the next level.
Elks running back Javon Leake and wide receiver Herjim Ayala are out for Saturday's game against the Blue Bombers. Hang out with Jay Milne and Matthew Iwanek where they'll be live from the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge for the Green and Gold Kickoff Show. Kickoff for that game is Saturday at 5. In NFL news, Titans RB Joe Mixon misses his second straight practice due to ankle injuries. Niners tight end George Kittle was out as well with a hamstring issue, while Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown was sidelined as well. For the lone game today, it's Jets versus Patriots, where Lieutenant Eric will be down at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge for that one. Catch them there Monday and Thursday throughout the entire NFL season. The Oilers started their training camp today with all the new guys hitting the ice alongside Mike Hoffman and Travis Dermott, who are on PTOs. Oilers start their preseason this Sunday against the Jets. Right now, you're tuned in to the Reid Wilkins Show with Reid Wilkins and Jay Milne. I'm Zachary Kubish for your EST update.
This afternoon. Yeah, we're off and running with Oilers training camp. We had some cuts from Chris Knobloch earlier. You heard from a what would the word be for nurse? Is it bemused? I'm not sure if I'm using bemused. Bemused mean puzzled, confused, or bewildered.
No, I believe you mean boo-boos.
Yeah, he was he being a little cheeky, impudent, or irreverent? Typically in an endearing or amusing way. About his boo-boo.
I'd have a hard time saying maybe. Oh yeah, didn't we talk about that word once? Wasn't it demure? Remember we talked about that new word that's out there?
Was that on air or was that still when we were rehearsing?
Man, I don't know.
That might have been in our rehearsal.
It's on air now.
We had a couple of really good rehearsals that'll never see the light of the... Actually, everybody, the show started September 3rd. It peaked on August 27th. Just if you're wondering.
And how about that? All-time... and Guy, we were just so happy about you. We talked about you throughout the break, just how knowledgeable you are and just how much we love that show, that pipeline show. Guy's in the nasty chat now, answering anybody question.
Yeah, he's talking about the dub.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
He's talking about players that are going to be, highlights coming into the season. So good on you.
That's what I love about the nasty chat is that it's generally, I know there might be the odd bad egg in there, but it's generally a chat where people interact with us, but also with each other. It doesn't it's not just one of these internet things that it just turns into insults and falsehoods. It's like people actually just want to chat.
Speaking of a chat, there was one that went on for quite a while. It started with Darcy G. He said, "What WTF is Reid Wilkins doing on EST? When the F did this happen? I've been on shutdowns for the past few weeks.
I work here.
This is mind-blowing," he said. Holy, you know what? That's awesome. And then everybody else was kind of like filling him in on what happened.
Okay, so I don't have to do it on air then. He's up to date.
I do want to say, because he said, heading home today, all have a great afternoon. But I want to remind people that if you are heading home, switch over to the iHeartRadio app or TuneIn app, and you can listen to us seamlessly on your way home as well. In perpetuity. Good word. That should be something we do as word of the day.
I like using words.
Perpetuity. Yeah.
That's
Tommy's always used the word that I've always been jealous of because I'm too nervous to use it. Is minutia. He likes using the word minutia.
Well, are you afraid you're going to say manure or something?
No, just probably misuse it, and misrepresent what it means. And it's funny, Reid, is our off-topic topics or afternoon debate that happens on Wednesdays or top three. They always carry on with our listeners. And Matt Hyman is reporting that pizza for dinner tonight, one of the pizzas does have pineapple on it.
That's fine.
That's okay. You won that debate, so I guess it is okay. Because you said that pineapple is okay on pizza.
It is. And I find generally very good if I feel like it. All right. Matt Hyman is a pretty frequent contributor to the Nasty Chat, and he listens to EST very loyally, so we appreciate that, and we appreciate anybody who tunes in.
And in the EST inbox, Thunder Dan says, Reid, do you think there's a chance Nurse goes on the LTBR, long-term boo-boo reserve?
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Yeah, I love that Darnell did that. I don't know if I've ever heard an NHL player, either in my time covering the league or observing the league, use the word boo-boo in any capacity.
I appreciate when players are loose like that. Like Leon can sometimes get that way. He can be very serious, but he can also be a little loose. I like that. There's an extreme amount of confidence in being able to let yourself go to that place.
Yeah, but I think what we learned today is that whatever is quote unquote ailing Darnell Nurse is not serious, and then even Knobloch said we'll probably see him in at least 2 preseason games. Probably, well, not probably, a time of year where minor stories might get more attention than they would otherwise, just because we're at the very start. But we are going to have Devodric Bynum from the Elks coming up. We'll talk a little bit about Thursday Night Football. I think Josh Claessen's going to hop on today just for fun. And maybe
well, I mean, his team is the New York Jets.
They're
playing tonight in a Thursday nighter, so we better check in. By all accounts, this is a game they should win. They're heavily favored. They're 6.5-point favorites at the moment. I'm looking very much so forward to watching that when I get home.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to dive into a couple of comments here from Zach Hyman, who is one of the more well-spoken guys on the team, as I think everybody knows, over the last 3 years here. And he was asked about dealing with that pain of that Game 7 loss from the Stanley Cup Final.
It's always going to be with you, like even for guys who are no longer on this team. Like you always are going to, have that feeling because you're so close. So, but I think having learned from years past, you got to put the past behind you. You got to move on. Fresh year, everybody starts at 0. There's always a new team that comes up and surprises people, and standings change, playoff teams change, and you want to be one of the teams that are in the mix. And obviously, we have pretty high aspirations.
That was a pretty good answer. I mean, in the grand scheme of your life, do you ever get over, quote unquote, losing Game 7? I mean, you still talk about U of A football games in the 2 weeks we've been doing the show. I could tell, that still bothers Jay. I mean, it's not like Zach Hyman's going to one day wake up and be like, I never think about the fact we lost that game. What happened?
You know what? It's nice to, for right now where he is, I mean, he's still an active player. So yeah, he's gonna have to move on from that. Sounds like he's moving on to this year. But after your career's over is when you really start to reflect. Is when you really start to have the dang, we were so close, and especially given that Game 7, beat by 1 goal in the Stanley Cup Final, that's gonna live with you for the rest of your life. So the hope is that you can now turn around and rectify that.
Yeah.
And make amends for that, because that would be a tough pill to swallow, and you'll be reminded of it for the rest of your life too. Don't forget that.
Yeah. Now, if they win a cup or 2, well, let's start with 1. Then it changes.
Everything goes away
for sure.
Everything goes away.
So one thing that won't go away for Hyman is that he had a historic season last year. He got to 54 goals. So of course he was asked today about scoring 50 again.
No pressure. I mean, honestly, no. No one expected me to score 50 goals last year. Going into the year, I've never been a guy who says, this year I want to score this amount of goals and this amount of assists and this amount of points, because every year is different. And I think for me personally, it's always, how can I help the team win, and what can I do to help the team win, and how can I be a better version of myself. And whether that's scoring more or whether that's doing something else, that's something that you figure out along the way. You figure out your role along the way, and pretty confident in what my role is here, and I'm excited to continue to build off of last year. And I think it's just the word of the day, probably just excitement. I think there's a lot of excitement around the group.
I mean, look, Hyman's an incredibly popular player for a lot of reasons. I mean, he's good, but I think people have come to enjoy the person that he is and how he conducts himself as well. Every year as an Oiler, he's hit a career high in goals from 27 to 36 to 54. It's going to be interesting to see how people chime in on this, because this is going to lead into my top 3. The one side of the argument is that that's a great season. It's going to be hard to reproduce. And even if he doesn't hit 54, he's probably still going to be one of the Oilers' most consistent players and still get a lot of points. But then I think we're going to probably have some people say, Reid and Jay, his center is Connor McDavid, who still is arguably just now entering the peak years of his career. Why couldn't he score 50 or 60 again? Oh, and let's not forget, he stands about 2 inches from the goal line on the power play and fearlessly knocks in rebounds and pucks. So maybe we are going to see still another career high with Hyman.
Well, unless the WHL rule gets implemented into the NHL.
Then he'll get even more goals. He'll just be kicking everything in the crease. Or I guess, no, in the crease, he wouldn't be able to kick it in.
Honestly, in hearing that, though, Rita, I'm kind of surprised that a player of that caliber, an NHL player, and I know you would say, it's not about personal goals or personal accolades, but he did say it's about how can I help the team? Well, you know how you can help the team? Score 58 goals. I'm serious. Like, that's how you can help the team achieve the ultimate goal. And, I would like to hear him say, look, I can, make personal goals for myself that I've created and that I'm in control of and that I want to get to, as if to say none of your business. But, I'm a bit, in our house, we have vision boards. Do you know what a vision board is?
No.
Okay, so you put your goals, you get magazines, and you make clippings out of these magazines, and you put together a vision board of goals that you would like to have happen to you in the next year.
Okay.
So you can, my daughters have put up, Olympic rings or, just crazy crazy goals that, may or may not be attainable. But if you never put it out there and you never suggest that you're going to get to that, there's a higher likelihood that it's not going to happen. So I would imagine that Zach Hyman would love to score more goals this season than last year. Right?
I'm sure he feels that way, but I don't think he's going to publicly put that pressure on himself.
Nor should he, but
right.
He said I don't care, which is I think you do care. As a professional athlete, you would and you should. And if helping the team is your number one objective, like he said, then scoring 50-plus goals would certainly go a long way to helping that team achieve that goal.
All right, so that is going to be my top 3 for Fuge sausage. The best sausages you will ever eat, locally made and packed full of flavor. Order online or visit them in-store, 6736 99th Street. Take advantage of their Edmonton Sports Talk discount. You get 10% off your order by entering EST as an online code, or you can just mention Edmonton Sports Talk in the store. Free delivery in Edmonton on orders over $100. As Fuge Sausage says, you can't beat our meat. Our top 3 is top 3 Oilers, can they do it again? Questions. So the number 1 will be what we've already talked about. Zach Hyman, 50 goals. Can he do it again? And kind of like I laid out earlier, the downside would be, if you'd answer no to that, you'd say 50 is hard to score. He can score 44 and have a perfectly great season on a team that wins a ton of games and be on one of the best lines in the league. And then the other side would be he plays with a guy who is capable of getting 100 assists in the season. Nuge has had a 100-point season a couple of years ago. And he's on a power play that, again, could operate at 33%. They could score on a third of their power plays. If all that clicks, then maybe 50 or above 54 is quite realistic. These are kind of more positive questions, right? Because we're talking about guys who did good things and saying, can they do it again? And in Hyman's case, I do agree with him. The way he plays, kind of like we talked about with Pud Coles, and I know different roles perhaps, but the beauty of Hyman is he gets points. I mean, he's one of their best offensive players, but there's a lot of nights you could leave a rink as a fan and say, man, oh man, Hyman was great, but maybe he didn't get a goal or an assist because he just works and does positive things.
Sure. And I mean, chime in. Let us know if you think it's reasonable to suggest that he could or will score 50 goals again this season, or 50 or more. Bones in the EST inbox says Skinner and Arvidsson take 10 from Zach, but 40 is still great. Right? Something along the lines of what you said. He can still have a very good season without getting to 50 goals. But interesting. I mean, can he? Absolutely. I mean, you're playing with the greatest player in the world currently. Yeah. You're on the power play, the top-ranked power play with the greatest player in the world.
I'm going to go... We'll have to circle back to this because we do have Devodric Bynum from the Elks coming up. I'll have to get to my other 2. One of them, I think, is along the lines of what we're talking about with Hyman, where even if a player doesn't do it again, he can still have a really good season. The other one might be a little more of a problem if he doesn't quite do it again, or maybe more of a question mark if this player can actually do it again. though he's in a very specific role. So I'll just leave it at that for now.
Jesus,
Jay doesn't even know. Jay just knows the topic, so he doesn't even know which players I'm going to bring up. 780-218-9999 is the EST inbox. Elks Bombers. It's a big game. It's Saturday at Commonwealth. Devodric Bynum, Elks defensive back, when we get back.
Elks running back Javon Leake and wide receiver Herji Mayala are ruled out for Saturday's game against the Blue Bombers. Come hang out down at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, where Jay Milne and Matthew Iwanek will be live for the Green and Gold kickoff show to preview that game. Kickoff on Saturday goes at 5. In NFL news, Titans running back Joe Mixon misses his second straight practice due to ankle injuries. Niners tight end George Kittle was out with an hamstring injury as well, while Eagles wide receiver, A.J. Brown was sidelined with a hamstring injury. For the lone game today, it's Jets and Patriots at 6:15, and Lieutenant Eric is down at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge for that one. Oilers started their training camp today with all the new guys hitting the ice, alongside Mike Hoffman and Travis Dermott on PTOs. Oilers preseason action starts this Sunday against the Jets. It's Shohei Ohtani who stole his 50th base of the season today in a win against the Marlins. Ohtani is 2 home runs away from becoming the first player in MLB history to have 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases in a single season. After the break, Edmonton Elks defensive back Devodric Bynum. Wow. Bynum joins Reid and Jay here on the Reid Wilkins Show. I'm Zachary Kubish, and that was your Edmonton Sports Talk Update.
Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oiler fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
Few of us can say that we're over 60 and still hot, but Mr. Mike's Burger can. And to celebrate over 60 years of Mr. Mike's famous burger, you're invited to taste history for only $8.99 at Mike Burger Madness. Savor the original flame-grilled Mike Burger on their signature garlic French loaf for a limited time. Dine-in only price of just $8.99. Sides extra. It's Mr. Mike's Mike Burger Madness, and you'd be mad to miss it. Offer ends September 30th. Eat locally, enjoy casually.
GCL Diesel has been serving oil country since 1972. From diesel cars to SUVs to pickups. From farm tractors to school buses to a big rig. From diesel generators to forklifts, GCL can test, troubleshoot, and repair all diesel fuel system components. Whether it's injectors, pumps, turbos, filters, or additive, GCL has the parts you need to keep your diesel running the way it should. For genuine diesel parts at wholesale prices, visit GCL Diesel in the West End or online at GCLDiesel.com. GCL Diesel. Diesel understood.
Okay. Appreciate you tuning in this afternoon. Man, oh man, it's fun. It's fun. Golden Bears football tomorrow, home game. That's Regina, right? Bears are 1-2. We got Oil Kings starting on the road this weekend with a couple of games. We got the Elks home to the Bombers Saturday at 5. You guys are at Century Casino for the kickoff show and the postgame show at 4 o'clock and after the game, respectively. Oilers have a home preseason game at 4 o'clock on Sunday against the Winnipeg Jets. That's just a few of the things going on.
This chat always gets me.
What happened?
Yeah, it's funny. Coobs. Bootski. He says the Coobs rolls through Devodric, but somehow gets tired and stumbles on Bynum.
That's okay. That is okay.
It's totally okay. I just think it's funny. Isn't that, you can laugh at yourself.
Did I tell?
Right?
Yeah, that's my goof up.
I don't know if
There you
I've
go.
told this on air. Yeah, that'll be a goof up.
There you go.
That I think I would have probably told the story at some point. Did I tell it on this show yet? So 2006, I'm working in Lloydminster, and the editor, the TV station, his name's Kelly, huge Red Wings fan.
Okay,
and as you know, the Red Wings were pretty heavily favored in that series. So the Oilers are up 3-2, and then we had another Red Wings a person at the station. So I actually did a story on the two of them, still predicting that the Wings would win. But anyway, as that season had gone on, off camera, just when Kelly and I would talk about hockey, I would always call him Chris Chelios. Just stupid joke, and then he would call him Chelios, to the point that we would have conversations about Chris Chelios, even if there was no reason to talk about Chris Chelios.
Just to rattle this guy a bit.
Just to say the name incorrectly. Yeah. Then, of course, one night, old Reid's doing highlights, and what do I say? Chris Chelios. Because I've been saying it, dozens of times a day with this guy, just as a joke.
Yes.
So I learned that don't even try not to say a name or something incorrectly, even off air, because then you may say it incorrectly on air when you shouldn't be saying it incorrectly. Okay, we are going to try to connect with Devodric Bynum here from your Edmonton Elks. If we don't get him, that's okay. We'll roll along. I will continue, though, with my top 3 for food sausage. Oilers, can they do it again? Questions. So my number 1, can Zach Hyman score 50 or more goals again?
And, I mean, there's been people chiming in on that as well. I mean, Big Uke says a lot will depend on if Connor wants to score more and shoots more than last year, or if he still passes everything. I mean, that's a great point. I don't know. I mean, things worked out pretty well for the Oilers last year, right? So, I'd expect Connor to play similar style hockey to what he did last year.
But he's that's the amazing thing about McDavid.
Yeah.
He goes from 64 goals down to 32. For most players, having your goals cut in half would be, is his career on the line this year? But with McDavid, it's like, well, no, he just went up to 100 assists.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be, I think a lot of people, and I mean, we all know this from living in oil country, fans really pull for Hyman. And you even saw...
Sure, yep.
Of course, a player scoring 50 goals will be celebrated, but the Oilers put out that great video of the mic'd up when he got to 50 against Ottawa, and and I love that Corey Perry. It was almost after it had died down a little bit, and Perry just put his arm around him and pulled him in and said, "Hey, man, you're in the club now." That was pretty cool.
Well, and there is people waiting with bated breath for number 2 and 3 of Reid's top 3 presented by Food.
They are.
I'm serious. They're chiming in. They're trying to guess them.
They don't want that transition of opening their car door because they might hear.
There's a lot of Stu Skinner talk in the chat.
Okay, I'm going to say this. I'm actually not putting I'm not putting Skinner as a can they do it again.
Okay.
I'm putting Calvin Pickard as can he do it again. Now I understand why. I understand why Skinner would be brought up. And I think for me, I think Skinner's a good goaltender. I've said that a lot. I know there's still a lot of detractors, which I still don't totally get. If he played 59 games last year, you would like that number to come down a little bit, but that's why Pickard is my can he do it again? So Pickard got into 23 games. He went 12-7-1 with a 2.45 goals against average and a .909 save percentage, which is pretty respectable. So scoring's going up. So I don't think you're going to see as many goalies with a .920 or a .925. .905 to .910 might be a pretty comfortable range. But the reason, because I think if Skinner, I do think Skinner's a good goaltender. I think he's a pretty consistent goaltender. So can Pickard be good enough in relief, as he was pretty much most of the time last year after Jack Campbell got banished, never to return? I guess except as a black ace in the playoffs. And then you throw in the storyline for Pickard from last season was, okay, Skinner didn't start the series well against Vancouver. Pickard goes into games 4 and 5 and plays quite well, gets a win and a loss. I mean, the Oilers were terrible in game 5 in Vancouver. That might have been one of their worst games of the postseason. He almost stole it. And he played in game 4 against Vancouver, in which the Oilers did blow a 2-0 lead late, but then Bouchard won it in the final minute. So for my can they do it again, of the two goaltenders, I'm going to put Pickard, because ideally you'd like your backup to play every third game. You'd like your number 2 goaltender to play every third game. If he's 909 again and plays, gets 27 to 30 starts instead of, he had 23 appearances last year. They weren't all starts. Then that's going to be really important to give Skinner that break and keep him as fresh as possible for the postseason. So I'm actually putting Calvin Pickard as my number 2 on can they do it again.
I like it. I mean, if you're asking him, you want to see him play roughly 26, 27 games, 28, that would be a third of the game.
27, 28 starts. Yep.
Okay. And you want him to have a 905 save percentage.
At least.
He
was 909 last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say that is fantastic. That's going to get you a lot more wins for the Oilers. And it does seem like now you need to have that. Like Skinner can, you need to have that on those tight parts of the season, right? Where you can have a goaltender like Pickard come in on a back-to-back. So how many back-to-backs do you think there are throughout the season?
I didn't even count the back-to-backs. Or I haven't looked at. Somebody will know off the top of their head.
What do you suggest?
There's usually around a dozen, depending on between 9 and 15, depending on the year.
And then in those long streaks or those road trips where
Right.
you have an afternoon, something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think, and that's not even counting the horrible start, because Pickard wasn't a part of that.
No, he wasn't.
At the start of the season.
So he might have started 28 or 28 games.
Yeah.
But again, because he's still...
he played 20 games in the last, what?
But he's
two-thirds?
He's a great story. But again, I try to be positive and look at the upside for players and find ways to, or, give them honest praise if required. But I still have to look at Pickard's entire career, and he was a backup / minor league goaltender basically from 2017 until last year. So that's why I'm still saying, okay, who is he at the age of 32? Did he have some good numbers on a good team, but maybe he wouldn't be capable of playing a lot more? Or is now he's sort of flourishing after going through times? And I think it's a valid question. I'm not trying to be negative about it, but I personally think that's a valid question.
No, I think you're asking, a very positive question is if, that is a serviceable backup at that clip.
Right.
The lore of Calvin Pickard really grew in the playoffs, didn't it? When he was asked to step up,
to interview his mom. It was awesome. Yeah.
Right. So that was really where he gained a lot of traction with Oilers fans, I think.
All right.
Very serviceable throughout the end of the year, though.
Number 3 is going to have to wait. We're really dragging out the top 3 today for Food Sausage. Very special guest on the line here, Devodric Bynum, Elks defensive back. Devodric, you're on with Reid and Jay. How are you doing, sir?
How you doing? I'm doing good. What about yourself?
We are doing great. Thank you for taking the time to join us. I'll start generic here. How was practice today?
Practice was great. Everyone was dialed in, high intensity. We all focused. We know we got our eye on the prize. We know the goals that we all have aligned. So we just got our head down, just grinding.
Yesterday, this is Jay. Yesterday, your DC, Jason Shivers, was on our show and noted that the difference defensively from earlier in the season to now was that the players were becoming more comfortable / familiar with the system. Can you, as a defensive back, speak to exactly what that means?
And basically what he's saying is we have a saying called rob, steal, and kill. It's just within the defense, his bone. I'm a rookie, and we have 2 other rookies that's out there playing right off the back. So we had to learn as we was growing. on the go, learn on the go. Like I said, we had to learn on the go. We didn't have time to sit back and wait. And then, they brought in some veterans. They took us on their wing, treat us like family. And we just honed in. We all have the same goals. They give us insights. We learn from their experience and different things like that. And so, we're all growing together now, and it's all starting to align. And so that's all it is. We always knew we had the talent, and we always believed in ourselves. So now it's just coming together, and you guys get to see it, witness it.
Yeah, and it looks and feels like it's coming together. I mean, the stats that defense has put up in, since the turnaround has been very impressive. I mean, you're moving to averaging under 21 points a game, which is, for CFL numbers, it's pretty darn good. And you yourself, you sit third in the CFL in interceptions with 5, and, obviously looking to pad those stats in the next 2-game set versus Winnipeg. However, for Winnipeg, the most success they've had is on the ground, specifically Brady Oliveira, who sits second in the CFL in rushing, first in the CFL in 20-plus yard gains, where a defensive back like yourself would become more of I guess that's when you have to make the tackle is 20 yards downfield. But, DBs, we aren't always thought of as, when talking about the run defense, but they obviously play a major role. How does your defense limit the effectiveness of Brady Oliveira in these next 2 games?
Just honing in on our technique and our game plan. Coach Huff and the whole defensive coordinator staff, they do a great job each week of bringing the right game plan. And we believe in each other. We're going to fly around. We're going to have fun. And we're going to put on a show.
Devodric Bynum from the Elks joining us on the Reid Wilkins Show. Oh, sorry.
I said, it's a new wave in Edmonton. Bone is back.
That's the Brotherhood of Nasty Elks. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Right on. Just a couple more before we let you go. I always enjoy finding about the journeys of players to get to the Canadian Football League. I mean, you're originally from Dallas, so that's a long way from Edmonton. But tell us first, how did you start playing football? Did you start as a really young guy, or who and how got you into the sport?
Oh, yes, sir. I started playing football at the age of 3 years old. My mom signed me up for flag football. I was 3, but I was always tackling, so I kind of played on the younger but older team, and so I just fell in love with it, with the game. I mean, it saved me. It shaped me out to be a man. It teaches life lessons. It's like football is everything to me, and so I just took it from there, and God gave me the talent and the gifts, and He gets all the glory. So,
okay, and then tell me about coming to Edmonton. I know from interviews I've done in the past, Devodric, some players knew about the CFL or maybe had a buddy or something that or an older teammate that wound up in the CFL. And I've heard other guys saying that they'd never heard of Edmonton, and a week later they were playing a game in green and gold. Tell us your story about coming to the CFL.
So my story is a little interesting. I knew about the CFL, but I didn't know about the teams and different things. But I knew it was a league over here in Canada. So when I first got it, I signed. I don't know the exact month that I signed. All I knew was I was going to Canada. I didn't know. Never been to Canada, didn't know anything about Canada. Only thing I heard was to get cold. So I came down in the summertime with another coat and a winter coat, and that was it. I just showed up to camp. I got down here. It's beautiful. I feel like one of the greatest places to live in the world. It's peaceful. The Elks fans are amazing. It's community ran. It's a lot of community involvement. It's like life outside of football here. I love Edmonton.
Devodric, I gotta ask. This is rare for us to interview a player and talk to a player that has their own website. You've got devodricbynum.com, and there's some really interesting thing. I gotta say, those shirts that you have those logo is fire. Congrats on that. Well done. What can people find on devodricbynum.com?
They can find I have beanies. I have jackets. I have sweatsuits, jumpsuits. I have some more interesting things that are going to be uploaded as well. It's in the making. Big shout out to Adi and Bull. I'm signing Young Money, so they actually helped me design that logo and get everything situated with that. So that was a big shout out to my agent. They're the ones who were responsible for that, for helping me design that. I bought the image, and they bought it to life. So,
okay, well, that's a lot of fun. Hey, thanks for fitting us in. I know you were probably just at the facility, after practice and all that kind of stuff. All the best against Winnipeg. You guys have really turned it around after that tough start. It's going to be fun at Commonwealth on Saturday. Continued success. Hope there's another pick in your future here.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Devodric Bynum from the Elks. So 5 interceptions in the last 3 games. Just got a note here as well. He ran a 40-yard dash, 4.29. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Blazing.
And clearly, and he touched on it again, just sort of a shift with the Elks just as the season. And for him, I mean, look, we've been talking a lot about Chris Jones this, Chris Jones that, but he also made a good point. There were some rookies on the team.
Absolutely.
And you got to figure it out. And he said, help from the coaches and help from some of the older teammates, certainly paying off for him. I mean, he's all over the ball lately.
Well, and it's funny how, you talk to DC Jason Shivers. We had head coach and offensive coordinator Jarius Jackson on last week, and you start putting the pieces together here that, yes, there were some things that were righted. The ship was righted, but there was also a lot of young players that were a part of this team, especially on the defensive side, and they're shoring things up. I mean, that's not too much to ask. It actually is making the picture is becoming much clearer as we move through the season, is it not, Reid?
Yeah. And if they can beat Winnipeg, man, oh man, it's
hang on. I know we got to get out here, but what honestly, what do you think in this next 2-game set? We can get into it more tomorrow.
I still think it's
obviously.
going to be a split. I'm going to play it safe and say it's a split. I have a lot of respect for the Bombers and Zach Collaros.
Well, you have,
and as you know, I have a lot of respect for teams that just figure it out. Hey, our individual stats don't look good. Oh, it's interesting. We're winning more than we're losing. I wonder how that's happening. I'm pretending I'm a player on one of those teams now.
Well, it's a great question.
But so much is situational. It doesn't matter if you win 40-10 or 11-10. You got the win. Okay, we got a break though, and we got Josh Classen coming up, and we got the third of my top 3, and we got more from you on the off-topic topic for William Huff. It's the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne.
Shohei Ohtani is 1 home run away from becoming the first player in MLB history to have 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases in a single season. Right now, Ohtani and his Dodgers are up 9-3 against the Marlins at the end of the 6th inning. Elks running back Javon Leake and wide receiver Herjin Mayal are out for Saturday's game against the Blue Bombers. Hang out with Jay Milne and Matthew Iwanek, where they'll be live from the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge for the Green and Gold Kickoff Show. Kickoff Saturday is at 5. In NFL news, Titans running back Joe Mixon misses his 2nd straight practice due to ankle injuries. Niners tight end George Kittle was out with a hamstring, while Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown was sidelined with a hamstring issue as well. For the lone game today, it's Patriots versus the Jets. Lieutenant Eric will be down at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge for that one. Kickoff for that game goes at 6:15. Oilers started training camp today with all the new guys hitting the ice alongside Mike Hoffman and Travis Dermott. We're on PTOs. Oilers start the preseason this Sunday against the Jets. Just after the break, rapper turned weatherman Josh Classen joins Reid and Jay on the Reid Wilkins Show. I'm Zachary Kubish, and now you're up to date.
Your brand deserves more than just a whisper, it deserves a buzz. At the Hive Product Marketing, they specialize in promotional products that bring the buzz. From eye-catching giveaways to unforgettable keepsakes, they got the perfect products to make your brand stand out and get noticed. Visit the Hive Product Marketing and let them create the buzz your business deserves. The Hive Product Marketing, the official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. Visit them online at thehiveproductmarketing.com.
It's crunch time for your taste buds, because for a limited time, A&W is collaborating
collaborating with Ruffles to bring you the Ruffles Crunch Teen Burger, your favorite teen burger, and your favorite Ruffles cheddar and sour cream chips, combined into one unique taste sensation. It's grass-fed beef. It's one-of-a-kind ridges and crunch. Try it in all its teen burger glory, or crunch into its equally tasty sidekick, the Ruffles Crunch Buddy Burger, for just $4.99. Try one today at your neighborhood A&W.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching the button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as a ninja fighting off evil samurai.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for signage from print to design and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of experience, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. Visit us online at williamhuff.com.
It's 13. Somebody sent it in, and I just counted as well. It's 13 back-to-backs for the Oilers this season.
That came in from Sully in the EST inbox.
As I was counting, and Sully, not that I don't trust you, but I still counted on my own because I just have one of those personalities. So that's 13 starts at least for Pickard. Hopefully, it's a double plus a couple more for him. All right, more Oilers storylines and still some more audio as we move along today. We talk sports and we have a good time, and this guy's going to do both. What way is it? Chief meteorologist? That sounds like a big wig title at CTV Edmonton. Josh Classen, and I should say former. I don't think when I first knew him he was a meteorologist yet at Global Saskatoon. We first met 25 years ago. Hey, Josh.
How are you guys?
When did you actually get the meteorology degree?
2 months after I started here at Edmonton. So I had started it when you and I were working together in Saskatoon. And then you only get to be chief meteorologist if your station has two meteorologists. So thank God Corey Adel is a meteorologist as well. But I'm the 5 and 6 show guy, so I get the chief title.
No, okay. So you were, I was around Onright and Broadhead and Bidwell a lot, but you were also very nice to a young Reid Wilkins and had a lot of energy. At that point in your career, though, like you thought, okay, that was 1999. Would have you thought 25 years later, I'm still going to be delivering weather on a newscast? Would have that been something that made you feel good at that time?
Yeah, I would have hoped that I was still doing it. I mean, I don't know that I would have thought I'd be here, but I'm happy to be here that's 21 years as of August that I'm here in Edmonton. So I know it's a long time.
I didn't mean that question thinking, you couldn't do it or you didn't want to do it. But sometimes when people look back, they might have said, yeah, at that time, I didn't know if I wanted to be in broadcasting or be a lawyer or be a bit whatever they wanted to do, like especially when people, because I know you and I both went Lloyd as well, right? And I was there a while, and I saw a lot of people who were promising broadcasters,
yes,
but 6 months, a year in, they were just like, I don't think I want to do this for a living for whatever reason, right?
So here's the story. There's a guy by the name of Peter Quinlan who's working at Global Saskatoon. He's got my old job at Global in Saskatoon now. So he was an intern for me years ago here at Edmonton. And we got him a job at CKSA in Lloyd, and he was there for about a year and a half. And he says to me, he called me one day, he's like, I don't know how much longer I can do this. I'm thinking about getting out. I said, well, Peter, what are you going to do? He says, I'm going to join the seminary. And I said, Peter, God will always be there. TV will not. Give it 6 more months, okay? He says, okay. And then 6 months later, he was at Global Saskatoon. So now he's there, and he does weather now out of Saskatoon for like 6 different stations across the country. He loves being in Saskatoon, and so he does weather for all these different stations across the country from there.
Well, the people want to know, Josh, because here's the thing. I know you've told your story.
The answer is no. I never considered the seminary, Jay.
I know that you've told more of your story on one of your occasions on the Hangout, but obviously, given that we're from 3 to 6, we might have different listenership, viewership at that time. But the rap stuff. I mean, I know you're a rapper turned weatherman. I mean, rap was your original passion, your original hobby. Tell us about
the only thing. When Reid asked, "Did I want to still do this?" That was the only thing that would have gotten me out of.
Of
this
course,
whole
and it's awesome.
That had
like
taken off.
The story is great, and tell everybody about your love of rapping, and I want to know just how close were the worldwide wordsmiths from making it big.
All we needed was one label to give us a chance. And those guys, they were fantastic. So
who go into that for us.
So growing up in Lloydminster, classic hip hop story, right? He grew up in Lloydminster. I fell in love with Public Enemy and Run DMC, and I was like, this is what I want to do. And so we would do little talent shows in Lloyd, and no one in Lloyd really knew what to think of it. And then we did a couple shows here in Edmonton. We worked with a producer here at Edmonton for a little while and did some tapes back then. And then I had a producer in North Battleford, of all places, and we put out some CDs and stuff like that. And then once the internet came around, when I was working in Saskatoon, I met up with these guys online. There used to be a bunch of rap message boards that you could be on, and you would write your lyrics. And these guys were like, "Hey, you know what? We all get along online. Why don't we form a group?" And so we recorded an entire album, and we called ourselves the Worldwide Wordsmiths because there was a kid named Shano who was in Toronto. There was me in Saskatoon. There was Hashim and Denzel were in New York. And then my buddy Derek, who was in Chickasha, Oklahoma, just outside of Oklahoma City. And so we put together this whole album. We had never actually met in person. And then once the album was done and the CDs were all pressed up, we got together and we did a couple shows in Oklahoma City. So I flew down and everybody met, and we recorded some more songs down there. So that was right after that happened. I got transferred to Toronto and was doing the morning show there, and so I didn't really have time to be writing rhymes at 3:00 in the morning because I was getting up and driving to work. So and then I started having kids, and that got in the way. And so in the last, I would say, 5 years, my buddy RJ, who was in a great Edmonton rap group called Dark Sun Tribe. Way back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And they were great. I think they won some Western Canadian Music Awards, and they did a little Asian tour. So RJ contacted me, and he knew I rapped, and he had heard some of my old stuff. And he's like, why don't we do some stuff together? So now he goes by Jing. That was his old rap name, Baby Jing. And my old rap name was Jock, Juggling Omnipotent Content, because that was back in the day. Everything was an acronym, just like endlessly supportive team. But
there you go,
Jock,
EST, yeah.
JOC was
Zach's famous words, yeah.
Content. Yeah. So we've done a couple shows here in the city. Every couple months we sort of pop up. We did a song with Brass Tactics and Superband. We did a show with the Superband at Halloween last year. So it's just kind of fun to get back on stage and do it.
Well, I mean, I mean, the performance that you and Zach put on there at the Estes was, that'll go down in the lore of EST. It adds to the lore. It was just great. Now, you said you were Jock. That was your name. But I was just wondering, like, how's that lawsuit coming along against Justin Timberlake and Jay-Z for stealing your actual name that you wanted to go with, Mr. Suit and Tie?
Well, see, I had always been Jock from like high school. That was sort of my nickname, and then so I was like, I adopted it as the rap name, and I came up with the acronym. But yeah, when I was working in Saskatoon, I was like, Mr. Suit and Tie I wear a suit and tie every day. It's a cool name, and then all of a sudden, Justin Timberlake stole it, and it's no good, man. It's no good. Although Jock is better than Mr. Suit and Tie, I think. And the problem with Mr. Suit and Tie is I would type it in as a username, and it always looked to me like Mrs. Oot and Tie.
Ah, yes, sure.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Josh Classen.
You needed a space there.
Josh Classen from CTV Edmonton joining us. So we wanted an excuse to have you on the show because you're fun, and you're going to get a lot of text from me like that. Like,
yeah, thanks for having me on the old show all the time, Reid. That was great.
Yeah. Well, it's a different company, right? Sure.
Might be a song being written about this soon, Reid.
So the Jets Patriots tonight. I'm not sure which. I'm going to ask you this. Because so when we first know each other, the Patriots were not the Patriots in '99.
Yep.
So how much did Jets fans like you come to hate this team over the last quarter century?
You have no idea. No. I mean, I would imagine the level of hatred that LA Kings fans have for the Edmonton Oilers.
Ah, good. Yeah.
It's not even a tenth of the hatred we have for the Patriots. The stealing of coaches, all the cheating that goes on there, and just you see a division opponent win that often. I mean, I respect them, but I hate them.
Josh, I mean, you've got the matchup.
And I have a feeling tonight's going to be closer than it should.
Really? Oh, I was hoping you were going to just tell me that take the Jets plus 6.5, take it and run because they're going to win by double digits. But you're probably, as a fan, cautiously optimistic, which I understand. But
as a Jets fan, I'm always cautiously optimistic.
Well, yeah, I hear you, man. I'm a
cautiously
Commanders guy,
pessimistic.
so.
Although every year I go into every year and I'm like, this is it. We have Mark Sanchez. This is it. We drafted Sam Darnold. This is it. We got Zach Wilson. This is good. Geno Smith, and they break my heart constantly. Well, Brett Favre broke my heart. I hated the Aaron Rodgers signing when it first happened because I'm like, we've seen old Packers quarterbacks come here, and it didn't bring us any championships. And I don't really like Aaron Rodgers on a personal level. But that offense is going to be fine. My concern tonight is the run defense. Ramondre Stevenson's been good, and the Jets defense has not been good against the run these first 2 weeks. And now you got no CJ Mosley tonight. Jermaine Johnson's done for the season. I mean, Jermaine Sherwood looked good replacing CJ Mosley, but I hope they can stop the run tonight. I don't know.
I'm going to give you one, positive set of news, and then I'm going to have to break some bad news to you. Okay. So, Aaron Rodgers is become Mr. Thursday night. He's second most in career wins with 11, second in TD passes with 37, and second in passing yards, only on Thursday nights, with 4,385. And last week, the Patriots gave up 327 passing yards to Geno Smith. So take solace in that. You've got Mr. Thursday going up, Swiss cheese of defense. Okay. Now, here's the bad news. Okay. Here's what I dove into this, and you're right. The run game should worry you. If the Patriots rush for 170 yards, it will be the first time in history that they'll have accomplished that feat in 3 consecutive games. Josh, does that feat happen? Do they do it, or I sense your worry, right? I sense it. It's okay. Be honest with us.
170 yards on the ground is a lot, though.
That's a lot. That's a big number.
Yeah. Listen, if they get 170 yards on the ground, the Jets lose.
Yeah.
Something's
got to give here.
they have to shut down the run, right? Jacoby Brissett's not going to beat you with his arm, and I mean, our corners and our safeties will be fine, but they have to stop the run tonight. And Stevenson's looked good these first 2 weeks, which pains me to say, but no, Jets will get it done. Jets. be a big night for Brees. Hey, Braylon Allen looks good. Yeah, really good.
I got him late in my fantasy draft. He went undrafted, and this is a massive human being that can run the ball. So, yeah, he popped off last week.
Yeah, but you probably didn't have him playing.
Of course I didn't. Of course I didn't. Why would I?
Of course I didn't. All right.
I have Brees and Braylon, but Braylon's just been sitting on the bench. My fantasy team name is the Jetsons, and I just stacked my bench with I have Lazard, Mike Williams, Ty Conklin, and Braylon Allen all on my bench. It's going to be rough come bye week.
I love there's an NFLer named Ty Conklin too. That's really cool.
Sorry. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You're right. It is Tyler Conklin.
Yeah.
We've had two people chime in and we'll let you go, Josh. I know you got stuff coming up, but a couple people.
Yeah, I got to watch the game. We're preempted tonight. I don't even have a newscast.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Game's on CTV tonight. So
no trade secrets. Trade secrets. Right. CB Radio guy asked specifically, is any of that rap footage ever going to make it onto the CTV weather segment?
No, never. Listen, I've seen weather guys try and rap, and there were even for someone as lyrically gifted as myself, it is.
I think he froze.
He froze. Oh, no. He froze. Right. They cut him off. The CTV cut him off because he was talking about rap too much. They cut him off right at 5.
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Finish that thought.
Yeah.
Oh, my thought was that it always comes across as corny and cheesy. And so, no. I both of those two parts of my self too much.
Okay.
To ever combine the two.
Josh, this was a blast. We'll do this again. It's so cool for me to have seen your career be such an incredible one ever since we met in Saskatoon, buddy. And it's an honor to have you on the show.
Oh, thanks, Reid. The same goes for you. I was so happy for you when I saw you landed here in Edmonton, and I'm pumped to have you on EST. I mean, you guys you're only not even 2 dozen. You're a little over a dozen shows. Is today 12?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 12 or 13. Yeah,
12 or 13. Yeah, the show's been. Jay's awesome. You guys are a great team together, and you may not see any of the rap on the news, but I haven't told Zach this, but I've got studio time booked for 9:30 next Wednesday morning. So as long as Zach can make it there, the song we performed at the Estes will get recorded.
Oh. I don't work until 11 that day.
Perfect.
There we go.
Yes.
Wow, round of clicks for Josh Classen and Zach to coming together. This is what we call a collab, right?
Oh, you're asking me?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this could be. Maybe this is the start of a beautiful duo.
I love it.
Josh, thank you so much.
Chuck D and Flavor Flav.
There it is.
All right, guys.
That is Josh Classen, chief meteorologist at CTV. Out of the 2 meteorologists they have, he is the chief. He's fun to have on the show.
Loves
the New York Jets.
Just an awesome guy. He's awesome. A dude's dude. Just loves sports. Loves cheering. Loves cheering for awful football like I do with the Commanders. It's great.
All right. We will take a timeout. We will have a sports update. We will finish my top 3. We'll probably get to a couple more Oilers clips. We may get an update on the Duck, all in the final hour of the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne.
Wake up with the Nielsen Show with Dustin Nielsen and Lieutenant Eric. Weekday mornings 6 to 9 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Conveniently located 10 minutes west of St. Albert, Wheeler's RV Storage will provide you with safe, secure storage for your RV, boat, or whatever you need to store. Open 7 days a week with gated keypad access and extra large stalls. Now is the time to take advantage of their limited time offer. Buy 6 months and get 1 month free. Now's the time to go to WheelersRVStorage.com. That's Wheeler's RV Storage. Safe, secure storage. Visit them today at WheelersRVStorage.com.
Food Sausages makes their meat with nothing but the best local ingredients. From chicken, beef, and pork, their gluten-free sausages are packed with flavor. Every single bite. Get a 10% discount when mentioning Edmonton Sports Talk in-store or use the code EST when shopping online at foodsausages.ca. Plus, you get free delivery on orders of $100 or more. Find them at 6736 99th Street. Food Sausages. You can't beat our meat.
If you've been injured in a car collision, let James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, protect your interests. They'll be there every step of the way to help answer your questions and help you get your life back on track. Trust Alberta's precedent-setting injury lawyers with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, call James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, 780-428-0088, or go to James H.
Ohtani becomes the first ever player in MLB history to record a 50-50 season. He has 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases this year. And right now, his Dodgers are beating the Marlins 14-3 at the top of the 7th. The Jays avenge yesterday's 2-0 loss against the Rangers, winning 4-0 in Texas. The Jays are back at it tomorrow against the Rays. Oilers started training camp today with the new guys hitting the ice alongside Mike Hoffman and Travis Dermott, who are on PTOs. Oilers start their preseason this Sunday against the Jets. Elks running back Javon Leake and wide receiver Herji Mayala are out for Saturday's game against the Blue Bombers. Hang out with Jay Milne and Matthew Iwanek, where they'll be live from the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge for the Green and Gold Kickoff Show. Kickoff is Saturday at 5. It's the Patriots versus Jets tonight at 6:15. Lieutenant Eric is down at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge for that one. You can catch him there every Monday and Thursday night throughout the entire NFL season. We're back here on the Reid Wilkins Show with Reid Wilkins and Jay Milne. I'm Zachary Kubish for your Edmonton Sports Talk update.
Well, something came in here. We got something that came up that I want to talk about. No, it's not Ohtani finally hitting the 50-50, but that is quite a feat.
That's great. He got the 50-50.
But rather, one of our very own nasties is unable to make the Elks game on Saturday, but he wanted to spread the love and share it with another nasty, and specifically a nasty that would be able to take a kid. Maybe, a kid that's never been to a football game. If they have, that's fine. But if you want to take your son or daughter or niece or nephew or grandchild to the game, I told Reid a number.
Yes, you did.
In the break. And he had no idea what I was talking about.
I did not.
So I gave Reid a number between 1 and 10. The first person to email into the EST inbox, to text into the inbox at 780-218-9999. I picked a number between 1 and 10. The first person to guess it, and keep in mind, please have a child in mind that you would like to take to the game, as we're Tyler in Terwilliger, who is the fellow that's giving away the tickets, where it's his wishes. So a number between 1 and 10, first person to get it. Reid knows, I know, and we'll get in touch with you to get those pair of tickets for the Saturday game. Huge game.
Should be a good crowd again.
Yeah.
Hopefully full or close to full in the lower bowl like it was against the Calgary Stampeders. So obviously Trey Ford's going to be the quarterback. Now we do have Mayala is out, but he missed the last game, didn't he? Didn't he get hurt on Labor Day?
Yeah.
But Javon Leake's not going to play, so the running back will be Kevin Brown. But then Rankin sliding in to be the second running back doesn't even seem like much of a drop off. You know what's impressed me about Leake? This is just me observing. You'll have a more technical view of this because you used to have to try to tackle guys who were doing this. But Leake, he's very patient. I mean, he will almost come to a full stop and wait for the block and then accelerate through the hole. And I realize that's a skill for the running back, but I feel most backs don't sort of have that really almost come to a full pause, stop before they get going again. And I admire that about him because he is fast. And I guess you would think, oh, he's going to get the ball and just want to run. And if there's no blocking, he'll just try to go anyway. But he's very much like, no. I know the play. I know Cordy's supposed to come over here, and I got to wait for that. And then I go. I've liked that about that subtle thing about his game this year.
Well, oftentimes you're setting the hole. You're taking the play, to your left or right to allow the defensive line, the offensive line to move that way, and then you find a crease towards the hole or through the backside. Javon Leake is very, very good at it. But yeah, you're right. At the end of the day, with Rankin and Brown in the running back field,
well, now
still
they
pretty
have Ford, right? So they kind of still have.
Well, yeah,
another. So they've gone from 3 running threats who are all running backs to now 3 running threats, one of whom is the quarterback.
Yeah, that's true. That's
now,
a great point.
I know Ford wants to throw first.
I didn't even think of that.
He wants to throw first, but he's got that ability to take off. It's going to be a tough game. Again, I got a lot of respect for the Bombers. And we had Derek Taylor on the show yesterday from the Bombers play-by-play booth, and they're a funny team because they have a lot of stats that would indicate that they shouldn't be 7-6. But also, it's kind of like the Elks. The Elks still have some stats where you think, well, that's not that good. Well, a lot of those are from they were 0-7. And some of the Bombers' poor stats are also from when they were 0-4. But if the Elks can get it tomorrow, I mean, then they put a little bit, or on Saturday, then they put a little pressure on Winnipeg going back for the second half of the half and half. The home and home, the half and half. It's the coffee football league, not the Canadian football league. The teams are half and half.
I'll have a regular
18%,
win, please.
10%, whipping cream. It's the cream football league. Sorry, varieties of cream. All right, what am I actually talking about? My top 3 for food sausage. Top 3, can they do it again? Questions for the Oilers. I had Zach Hyman getting 50 again. I had Calvin Pickard having a solid season as the number 2 goaltender. My number 3 is, to me, it's maybe the most definite yes out of these, but I think it's a relevant question because it's going to go a long way to determining not just the success of the Oilers throughout the whole season, it's also going to go a long way to determining how much this individual gets paid in his next contract, which will probably be a story in the summer, and that is Evan Bouchard. And perhaps it's not can he do it again, which is get a point a game. Perhaps the question is can he get 100? Bouchard had 82 points in 81 games, 18 goals and 64 assists. Maybe 100 points might be tough. Of the 3 questions I've asked, can they do it again? I would be most strongly a yes, quite frankly, for Bouchard getting over 80 points or getting 82 or more. As much as respect as I have for Hyman, and as much as I think Pickard has worked at his craft and understands his role and what he has to do. But again, with Bouchard, I put this question, I put him in this top 3, not just because it'll be fun to see if he can get the milestone again of a point a game as a defenseman, but also because every 3, 6, 9 points he gets over last year, that could raise his next contract by $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 per season. Again, last year he played 81 games, 18 goals, 64 assists for 82 points. And this also ties into the Hyman question: is if the power play is once again incredibly proficient or even better than last year, then how high can he go?
I mean, if keeping this in the positive frame, I mean, you have Hyman getting 50 goals if he can do that again. If Calvin Pickard can keep that save percentage, up in the, say, 27, 28 games that you think he should be playing, roughly a third of the season. And if Bouchard can get to 100 points, I mean, that's historical.
Yeah.
There's only been 6 players in the NHL as defensemen.
Okay, let me see if I can remember them.
Okay, I got the list up.
Or
yes.
Coffey.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Bork.
No.
Bork never got to 100.
So you have 3.
McCartney hasn't got there.
No.
How Robinson didn't. Is it 6 individual defensemen, or there's been 600-point seasons?
No, because Bobby Orr did it 6 times.
Bobby Orr did it 6 times himself.
Paul Coffey did it 5 times.
Oh, yeah, he's right. So
the others have only done it once.
So Eric Carlson.
Yeah, he's the most recent in 22-23. Zach, feel free to chime
jump in, Zach. These are fun.
Potvin?
Yes.
Oh, Potvin did get there. Yeah.
Phil Housley?
No.
Oh, good
he had
guess.
like 40
Not
goals.
Carlisle.
No.
We're missing some offensive defensemen.
One played down the highway.
Did McInnes?
Yes.
Did Zubov ever get to 100?
No.
I think he got to 90.
He eclipsed it.
This
yeah,
is riveting.
I think he eclipsed it.
Give us a general time frame or a hint on the 6th guy.
Oh, let's see here. He would have been late.
Quinn Hughes didn't get there yet. No. He might. That's another guy who might.
He would have been a 90s player. A 90s defenseman. He played in he played in the Eastern Conference.
Stevens didn't.
No. Once you get it, you're going to be like,
we're going to be irritated we didn't get
how
it.
did I miss this?
Was he I said Bork. He never did. This is people in the nasty chat are probably going nuts. Okay, so who do we have?
He's referred
Coffey?
to the greatest of all time. The greatest team name, insert team name here of all time.
Okay, so we have, just hang on. We have Coffey, Orr, Carlson, McInnes. Who was the other one we guessed?
Potvin.
Yeah, you're missing
So this
one.
guy would be the greatest player on his team of all time. So it wouldn't be Bruin. Wouldn't be a Whaler.
Nope.
Wouldn't be a Islander. Oh, Leach.
Yeah.
Leach.
Brian Leach.
Brian Leach, of course. Okay. He was good.
You got it.
Yeah. Okay.
And finally, somebody nailed this number.
Can I say it now?
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
So
Good.
you'll coordinate
I got
the ticket
it.
exchange?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a fun trivia question. I would think, just off the top of my head, and again, now I got to get back into hockey mode of remembering every roster. Off the top of my head, I would say Bouchard, Makar, and Quinn Hughes would all be modern, current candidates to have 100-point seasons as defensemen. And I'm probably missing. I'll have to look at the defense.
That's
Do you
pretty
think
crazy.
Luke Hughes could even have that chance? I mean, it was his rookie year last year, but
I mean, that's pretty crazy to put Bouchard in that.
Well,
in
but
the same
again, the
conversation
power
as
play,
Makar.
right? And here's for points. I mean, I think Makar is an all-time. Hughes has been in the league a while. Were you thinking of the other? I'm saying Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes got to 92 last year. Let's sort the defense scoring from last year. But here's what I'm thinking, because I still believe that the offense is going to increase. And I was double checking because I was talking about Pickard's save percentage being 909, and Skinner's being 905. And I realized some people might say, well, 905 isn't very good. The league average save percentage in the NHL last year was 903. Things are changing. Do you know what the NHL league save percentage was in 14-15? 915.
Wow.
So it's now that if you're 910, you're a solidly above average goaltender. Right?
I mean,
so I'm just now spinning this into an overall increase in scoring, power play, quarterbacks. Hughes doesn't bomb it like Bouchard, but can produce points from back there. So that's why I'm saying, first of all, from the Pickard-Skinner argument, I mean, if the Oilers team save percentage is 910, that's going to be pretty good. And then from defensemen maybe hitting 100 points, maybe 3 of them currently in the league could do it this year or someday. I think it's very possible.
Well, and, that's got to be music to the NHL's ears, right? Seeing that save percentage go down, which means more goals are being scored, right?
So last year, Hughes had 92 points, Makar had 90, Yossi had 85, and Bouchard had 82. So you had 3 defensemen, a point a game or better, Hedman was just under a point a game at 76. Adam Fox had 73. I mean, there's another guy who gets a ton. Dobson is a great player. He had 10 goals and 60 assists to get to 70.
I thought Rasmus Dahlin would be higher up that list.
He had 59 points.
Yeah. I thought he'd be at the 10th.
But to me, Hughes and Makar at 92 and 90. So an extra point every 3 weeks, they get to 100.
Well, they're 24 and 25. They've got some time to get there.
Right. And again, with Bouchard, what if the Oilers score 10 more power play goals than they did last year? Well, he's probably in on 8 of them.
Yeah, that's very fair to say.
That gets them to 9. So I'm not saying 100 is easy, but I don't think it's unachievable.
I for next year, that's amorous, I would say.
Amorous.
In his career, yes.
Doesn't that mean that we
high hopes? I thought
showing, feeling, or relating to sexual desire. That's the meaning of
not.
amorous. Ambitious.
Jeez. Oh my God. Goof up.
So have you reversed those words with your wife? Like, hey, baby, I'm feeling a little ambitious tonight. Like what? You want to build a shed? You're trying to get a promotion at work.
Oh, amorous.
So like Jay's doing an interview with somebody. So you seem like a very amorous person. I don't know about that, Mr. Milne. I just want to work at your furniture store.
Oh, yeah, right, eh?
Anyway, that's my. I just wanted to give some context of, because I don't want to sit here and throw out, he'll get 100 points. I want to throw out the context of being on a good power play and being in a league that I still think scoring is going to increase. Save percentages are declining. So maybe we could see, one of those 3 defensemen at some point become the 7th defenseman ever to have a 100-point season. Brian Leetch.
Yeah. The greatest Ranger of all time, as said by the Moose.
Messier said that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he'd be up there.
What are your thoughts on that save percentage declining? I mean, that's a direct correlation to more goals being scored.
Yeah, I think I don't think it's going to ever go down to 880. I could see a year where it's 898, 890, maybe not 890, but maybe high 890s. Because again, I just think there's so much emphasis on offense now, and I do think. And we had Guy on earlier, and I asked him about the speed and the skill in junior hockey. And as he talked about, and you and I have talked about, and other broadcasters and fans have talked about, fighting is not a necessity, right? No one's ever going to say, oh, yeah, but McDavid never fought. Just go. 3-on-3 overtime. There's going to be, games decided there. Those are goals along the way that take down save percentage. Proficiency of power plays. As I said to Guy, when they first took out the red line, there were players that had to adjust to that mid-career in the NHL, or kids who were playing high-level hockey. And now we even saw what the Oilers did against Dallas. Part of the reason they turned it around against Dallas is because they started stretching the puck. And then think of the goal. It was in one of the games against Florida. Like Ekholm just looked up, hammered it all the way around the boards, and Janmark's waiting at the far blue line because that pass is a weapon. All that opens it up a little bit, right? So that's why I'm saying I think save percentages might decline. Maybe they're under 900 at some point for a year or two. I think there are cycles, but that's why I'm also thinking there are some really good defensemen and some really good defensemen who can shoot and can skate, who are going to join the rush and who, okay. If you were to put together your 3-on-3 dream team, you'd have Makar as your defenseman. I'd have Makar over Bouchard. I'd probably have Makar over Quinn Hughes, quite frankly.
I think you would, because he's just a little bit.
Okay, so that's
has
what
more
I'm saying.
size.
Is there 5 extra points a season for Makar in 3-on-3 overtime? Probably.
Sure.
So that's what I'm saying. All these little things add up.
No, I we'll see it. I mean, there's a fresh crop of young stud defensemen coming through the NHL right now.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. So
it is.
One of these guys, I think, will have a 100-point season. I'll make that as my crazy prediction on September 19th. One of Hughes, Makar, or Bouchard will have 100 points this upcoming season.
I wonder if you can find that on CoolBet. If there'll be
I have no idea.
100-point NHL defenseman this year.
I'd bet on it.
I think obviously, there's only been 6 players.
I don't know if they would
it.
just give you odds on just saying it could be anybody. You'd probably have to say it's going to be this guy. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you'd be pretty easy to narrow it down.
I've never owned a casino. All right, 780-218-9999 is the EST inbox. The Nasty Chat, of course, is going on YouTube. We will round out some of your thoughts, and we might get to another clip or two from Oilers practice today as well as training camp got started. It's the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne.
Shohei Ohtani becomes the first ever player in the MLB to record 50 stolen bases and 50 home runs in a single season. He achieved this feat in the 6th inning against the Marlins, where he and his Dodgers currently lead 14-3 in the 8th. Before this feat, Ohtani was also the 6th fastest player in the league's history to record 40 homers and 40 stolen bases in a season. The Jays avenged yesterday's 2-0 loss against the Rangers today, winning 4-0 in Texas. The Jays are back at it tomorrow against the Tampa Bay Rays. Oilers started training camp today with all the new guys hitting the ice alongside Mike Hoffman and Travis Dermott, who are on PTOs. Oilers start their preseason this Sunday against the Jets. Elks running back Javon Leake and wide receiver Herji Mayala are out for Saturday's game against the Blue Bombers. Hang out with Jay Milne and Matthew Iwanek, where they'll be live from the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge for the Golden Green Kickoff Show. Saturday's game starts at 5. Tonight, it's the Patriots versus the Jets at 6:15. Lieutenant Eric might already be down at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge for that one. He'll be there every Monday and Thursday night for the rest of the NFL season. This sports update has been brought to you by Sit and Sleep. The wait is over. Sit and Sleep is now open. Celebrate with 20,000 square feet of savings on the trendiest furniture, home decor, and mattresses. Apply for your Sit and Sleep card today to make no payment for 18 months interest-free. Join us on... I'm just reading the page, but tomorrow, Reid and Jay will be broadcasting live from Sit and Sleep, the entire show. So that should be fun. Right after the break, Reid and Jay will continue the Reid Wilkins Show. I'm Zachary Kubish, and now you're up to date.
It's crunch time for your taste buds, because for a limited time, A&W is collaborating with Ruffles to bring you the Ruffles Crunch Teen Burger, your favorite teen burger, and your favorite Ruffles cheddar and sour cream chips, combined into one unique taste sensation. It's grass-fed beef. It's one-of-a-kind ridges and crunch. Try it in all its teen burger glory, or crunch into its equally tasty sidekick, the Ruffles Crunch Buddy Burger, for just $4.99. Try one today at your neighborhood A&W.
Come get your game on at The Ranch. The Ranch lets it all hang out with a championship caliber design, premier conditions, and above all, a fun laid-back experience. Get top-notch service and unmatched value every time you play at The Ranch. Think you have what it takes to go low? The best value for your golfing buck is always The Ranch. The Ranch Golf and Country Club. 10, 50, 100, and 200 round packs on sale. TheRanchGolf.com.
Celebrate the grand opening of Sit and Sleep and discover a revolutionary way to shop for mattresses. Stop in today for a free pressure point scan using cutting-edge technology so sleepologists can identify the perfect mattress for you. Right now, you'll get free local delivery on any mattress over $5.99 and receive a bamboo cooling mattress protector. Get grand opening savings now with every mattress on sale. Join us on location today for the celebrations at Sit and Sleep in South Common next to Planet Fitness.
Edmonton Sports Talk delivers a mass audience of key, influential customers to your business, all while you associate your company brand with the biggest names, the hottest sports news, and teams from every league around the globe. Oilers and Elks, NHL, NFL, Major League Baseball, and the Association, Formula One, soccer, golf. Oh, sweet mama! The excitement is palatable on Edmonton Sports Talk. It's where fans go to get their sports fix and where our partners find the most loyal consumers. Contact us today and see how our team on Edmonton Sports Talk can score the biggest goals for your business. With various advertising options available, email business@edmontonsportstalk.com or head to our website and send a message at edmontonsportstalk.com.
think we did that in unison. We lifted up on our chair at the same time. And you know, in that break, you heard about sit and sleep. And just a reminder that we will be on location. The Reid Wilkins Show will be live tomorrow from Sit and Sleep, which is right beside Planet Fitness in South Edmonton Common. We will be there from 3 to 6. We'll be talking all things sports, all things furniture, mattresses, and we're hoping that we can get Sonny on tomorrow. Sonny's a great man. Yeah. Known him a long time. And, for the record, Spency 5 cents, Zach did not know what FUBU is. It's an apparel company, a hip-hop apparel company in the USA. It stands by for us, by us, FUBU.
I might need to steal that for like the end of a sportscast or something.
I don't know if FUBU's still hot. You know what I mean?
EST for us. By us. I don't know.
There you go.
That's not
Sure.
our slogan, though.
Yeah, no, you could take it and run with it however you see fit, young Zachary Koob. We will talk now a little bit more about Reid's off-topic topic today, which I've been saving some of these. We were talking in relation to Oilers head coach Knobloch and how he's a very calm, composed coach, and that's his style. But we've all run across coaches that maybe had a fuse lit or were a little bit more aggressive. And I've received some very good messages here. So that Owen guy, and thank you everybody for getting these into us. He says, grew up in small town Alberta and had a basketball coach whose kid was on the team and was NBA bound. And the coach would try to run practices as such. Nobody from that team made the league. And nobody does make the NBA here. It's very hard to. Matt Hyman says, first time I coached, I was 19 or 20. My buddy asked me to help out. Objectively, we were not great. I like that. Objectively, we were not great. It took about 10 years until I returned to coaching, more mature and confident in my abilities. Justin of Balgoni, I had a similar high school football story to Glue Guy. Our coach would make us run in a snake formation in our full gear up and down 7 hills in St. Albert for the entire practice.
Oh, wow.
It was death. And finally, Kaiser chimes in. He says, hey, guys, when I was playing Bantam AAA for a friend of station's Bob Stauffer's favorite club, the Southside Athletic Club, our coach made us run in our full equipment in the field across from Coronation Arena after we lost our first game of the season. Our team was highly touted as we had Jake DeBrusk, Craig Simpson's son Riley, and a number of other great players. It was quite the experience. Great coach, though, and we ended up winning the city championship, provincials, and went on to win Westerns.
Oh, wow.
So maybe there's something to be said about that. That's weird, though. Like in full hockey equipment to see kids. Imagine seeing a kid, row of kids running outside a Southgate Mall in their full equipment, hockey equipment gear.
There was a WHL coach. I won't say the name, but I think the story's out there. This is since the 2000s. This is this century who got in some trouble because on a road coming home from an unsuccessful road trip, he made the kids jog behind the bus the last few miles into town. Yeah, it's kind of what's the line between...
You'd get put in prison for that.
Yeah, and again, I think it's what's the line between I need to snap them to attention or remind them to work harder, or... And some coaches even be like, you know what, I need them to hate me so they come together. I still think there's a line between that and you're just almost abusing them. Or that's not going to make them want to play hockey harder. I don't know if that would make them think like, oh, I really want to play for this guy, you know?
It's funny. This FUBU discussion is taking a life of its own as well.
From?
I don't know.
Did I miss part of the show?
No.
Was I here the entire time?
No, I think Zach's getting a lot of praise for his sports updates. And it just made me think, though, maybe we can carry this into tomorrow and you can keep some of these awesome ideas that are coming in. Reid's top 3.
Yes.
Clothing brands / clothing stores that you'd like to see come back.
Well, that would have to be the off-topic topic.
Off-topic topic. My mistake.
Okay, I'll
save that for tomorrow.
I'll think about that.
Yeah.
I want to let because I may change it into something else.
Yeah, work with that. Mold it how you see fit.
We are in the James H. Brown studio. James H. Brown Personal Injury Law Firm, the heavy hitters of injury law with over 200 years of experience. James H. Brown will get you the settlement you deserve. Check him out, jameshbrown.com. Book your private consultation today. So the Oilers started the on-ice sessions for training camp. We heard from Darnell Nurse a little bit earlier, who kind of almost smirked about his ailment, or boo-boo as he called it at one point. Though Chris Knobloch indicated, I mean, Knobloch's comments were similar in message in that it's nothing major, and that we'll likely see Nurse in a couple of preseason games, but maybe just not early. He did fully participate in the practice today. I want to get to a couple other clips because we've been talking about Vasily Podkolzin. We did have clips from him earlier in the show about his trade from Vancouver, which he did say he was kind of surprised about, but he also said, when asked about not getting a lot of traction in Vancouver, he said it was tough for him with some different coaches and different maybe philosophies within the organization. Here's what Knobloch has to say about Podkolzin.
Just building up confidence in them, tell them the things that they are doing well, encouraging that, because often players are doing more good than bad. Coaches tend to point out the bad, and they feel that they're doing more bad than good. So, he's new, and we've got to spend some time with him, with the captain skates, got to see him a little bit. Today, my first day with him on the ice. I think he's an exceptional young player. I think he's got a lot of promise. You saw that in his rookie year, how well he played. Things didn't go as well since that first year, but we feel that we can build him up and get that same game that he, early when he showed a lot of the promise.
All right. Knobloch touching sort of on, I think, the mental confidence side of the game as much as anything else, which that's one thing he talked about when he took over last year, just feeling guys that they were upbeat about playing hockey again, as opposed to feeling a little constricted by it. So that's been a theme for us this week. He's a guy to watch. I thought his interview was pretty good today. His scrum was pretty good. I mean, he even had a joke. Actually, you know what, Zach? Can we pivot on the fly with a Podkolzin clip here? I know I said I was going to give you something else. Let's do Podkolzin number 3. Just let me know when you have it. Podkolzin asked about being McDavid's teammate as opposed to playing against him.
It's great to be with him, not against. Yeah, it's. Especially when he was on the ice, I was on a bench all the time, so I didn't play much against.
So joking about being McDavid's teammate, but also saying I wasn't thrown out against him very often as a member of the Canucks.
I'll say, yeah. I mean, that's what we were talking about earlier, is how can you not take advantage of this situation, not be excited for this situation? You're coming to a legitimate cup contending team with the pieces in place, and you can become one of those pieces.
Yeah.
Take it and run with it, young man.
Speaking of young men, Matt Savoy, the St. Albert product, high pick by the Sabres, came over in the trade for Ryan McLeod. One of, if not the best Oilers at the Young Stars tournament in Penticton. I mean, they only scored one goal. He helped set it up. He created some other chances along the way. I mean, obviously not somebody that you're looking at it being on the roster on opening day, but somebody I think who is an important prospect. Here's Knobloch on Matt Savoy.
I thought he had a really good day. I was able to go to the rookie tournament, got to see him play for the 2 first games. You can tell he's a smart player, can score goals, great shots. I think he's a player that can complement skilled players. Now, is he NHL ready? He has the skills. Is there other parts of his game that he has to add to be ready for the NHL? We'll find out through camp, and especially through the exhibition games. He'll have a great opportunity to get a lot of ice time and playing opportunities.
I'm looking forward to seeing him in the preseason games, and I wouldn't have identified him as one of the chief storylines that we've been talking about because if something pretty crazy would have to happen for him to be on the Oilers at the start of the year. He's 20. He turns 21 on New Year's Day. I mean, last year in the Dub, 47 points in 23 games with Moose Jaw, helped them win the title. But that's interesting what Knobloch said. He's a type of player who can complement the skilled players. Well, okay, Arvidsson and Skinner, free agent signings, they're going to move on eventually. So in a couple of years, you want Savoy pushing and ready to be maybe McDavid or Draisaitl's winger. So he's a bit of a more, I guess, medium-term project, but I want to see what he does in the preseason and then obviously, in the American Hockey League this year.
A lot of questions, right? A lot of unknowns, but seems like camp is coming along. Seems like the Penticton camp went very well for him. Some glowing words from his coach. So, yeah, I mean, you always want to... You love those stories of the local kid that comes home and can make a run of it, right?
Yeah.
As obviously would have been a young fan growing up cheering for this team.
All right. So, tomorrow we're sit and sleep. Next Friday, the 20th, I want to remind people, we have an
27th.
Well, what did I say? The
20th.
That's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, we're at Sit and Sleep. Next Friday, the 27th. Thank you, Jay. We are at Century Casino on Fort Road for an EST watch party to see the Elks visit the Bombers. That's the second half of the home and home. We'll do our show from 3 to 5. Then you and Awanak will do the Green and Gold kickoff show from 5 to 6. And then you'll hop on for the Green and Gold postgame show after that game. That's a huge game. That's going to be a fun night. Come visit us next Friday at Century Casino. And is Lieutenant Eric there tonight for Thursday Nighter?
He is there tonight,
so
yes.
So you can go there tonight and see Lieutenant Eric. So a lot of fun stuff going on. We're going to have some more fun in our final segment of the show. It's Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
What a night for Ohtani and the Dodgers, where they find themselves up 20-3. 20-3 is the score. Dodgers are winning against the Marlins, and Ohtani in this game has 3 home runs, and he saw himself become the first player in MLB history to record 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases in a single season. The Jays avenged yesterday's 2-0 loss against the Rangers, winning 4-0 out in Texas. The Jays are back at it tomorrow against the Tampa Bay Rays. Elks running back Javon Leake and wide receiver Herji Mayala are out for Saturday's game against the Blue Bombers. Leake and Mayala both missed the last few practices, with Mayala out with a calf injury and Leake out with non-football related reasons. The Elks play Saturday against the Blue Bombers, as I said, where Jay Milne and Matthew Awanak are live for the Green and Gold kickoff show just an hour before the action at 4 o'clock. Tonight, it's the Patriots taking on the Jets in Thursday night football. Lieutenant Eric is down at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge for the action. Kickoff for that game goes at 6:15. This sports update has been brought to you by Wheeler's RV and Boat Storage. Conveniently located 5 minutes east of St. Albert, Wheeler's RV is your safe and secure place to store your RV, boat, or whatever it is you want to store. Visit them at wheelersrvstorage.com to take advantage of their limited time offer. Buy 6 months, get 1 free. Go to wheelersrvstorage.com today and get your storage needs taken care of. Up next is the final segment of this Thursday rendition of the Reid Wilkins Show. I'm Zachary Kubish, and that was your EST Update.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
At Mind 360, we invite you to embark on your mental health journey in a safe and comfortable space. Conveniently located in St. Albert, Mind 360 has a diverse team of experienced clinicians that offer a broad range of tailored services for children, adults, and families. Furthermore, we are very proud to serve our military, veterans, and first responders. If you're looking for counseling, treatment, or assessment, understand that you are not alone. Contact Mind 360 at mind360.ca to book an appointment today.
Gallo LLP is an Alberta-based accounting firm with expert chartered professional accountants in both our Edmonton and Sherwood Park accounting firms. Our experienced and innovative accountants provide financial advice that saves our clients money. Simply put, we help our clients protect their assets and grow their businesses. At Gallo LLP, they go beyond the numbers to ensure the continued success of your business. Reach out to Preet or John to discuss how they can help your business grow. Visit gallollp.ca today and see how they can help you take your business to the next level.
the stats for Ohtani today?
6 for 6, 3 home runs, 10 ribbies.
Jeez. And he's reached 50-50.
51, isn't it? Or 50-51?
51.
Okay, but he's passed.
He's surpassed it.
He won the Oilers 50-50. $3 million. He needs the money. No.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Well, okay. So here's a fun question to wrap it up on a Thursday afternoon. And we'll talk about some other stuff still before we go. He's 29. He's won Rookie of the Year. He's won 2 MVPs. He's been 4th in Cy Young voting. So, and this is the year he's not pitching, right?
That's right.
And then next year he'll pitch and hit. Like, is he midway through becoming the greatest major leaguer of all time? He's certainly a threat to do it.
Well, I mean, is there a consensus? Let's start with that. Is there a consensus number one?
Okay, I Googled it, and ESPN, which I would consider a website we could trust for this, did a list a couple of years ago. Here's the top 5. I'll go 5 down to 1.
Sure.
Ted Williams, Ty Cobb, Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, and Babe Ruth. None of these players I saw play.
Well, yeah, right?
Garrig's. Who's the first player I would have seen play? Bonds.
Barry Bonds, probably.
And
at 8.
Bonds' career is always still going to be like
questioned, right? It's got to be.
It's funny. Somebody said once about Bonds that if he had retired before he started doing the things that we all thought he was doing to hit more home runs, he still would have been a top 10 player of all time, right? Like a legitimate 5-tool player.
Sure.
Walter Johnson. So their top 10, there's only, I mean, I'm 50. There's only one guy I've seen play. Yeah, most guys were done. I mean, I did not see Walter Johnson play, everybody. He retired in 1927. But anyway, Pedro Martinez, they have 11. This is from a couple of years ago. But Ohtani, I mean, if he's now doing something that would have been considered unbelievable, dare I say? Not unbelievable. It would have been considered near impossible. And plus, now, so I guess he's getting more at bats this year because he's not pitching. Oh no, because he wouldn't bat on the days he pitches, right? When he was with the Angels.
That's right.
Well, and then they've always had the designated hitter. So anyway, it's just, I don't know, it's a fun topic. But to see what he's doing today.
What is he on pace?
Yeah, some other list from Britannica.com has Ruth, Mays, Bonds, Williams, Aaron as the top 5. So it's the same type of guys. They have Roger Clemens number 10. But I mean, certainly if Ohtani plays 5 or 6 more years and continues to do what he's doing, he's going to be easily a top 10 player of all time. I mean, he's already hit 219 home runs. Sorry, 221. This isn't even updated for today.
The interesting thing with Babe Ruth was that he was a pitcher as well.
Right. So that's where is Ohtani number 1.
It's hard to say. I mean, Babe Ruth played for 21 years.
Okay, but Ohtani, he's 29. This is his 7th year in the majors. So isn't his contract for another 10 years? Let's say he plays till 35. Let's say he plays 14 years and he wins 5 MVPs and is one of the top hitters and top pitchers in Major League Baseball. Certainly he'd be in the top 5 players of all time in baseball. And I should include in this conversation for everybody, I don't follow baseball nearly as closely as I used to. Probably the last 15 years or so. I don't know why my interest declined. Maybe just I got busier with Oilers stuff, or the Expos moved to Washington, and the Blue Jays haven't been great. I know the
Blue Jays
been on the ALCS
when they went on that run.
Ago.
That was pretty fun.
The year
right?
They got David Price in August and won
Bautista,
70% of their games the rest of the way. But I don't know. I just think in this context,
well, it's hard to say at this point because as Peter in the nasty chat says, longevity is key. Health is key.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? So there's a lot of unknowns, but there's, this is maybe we should,
but he's as you said, that's what's going to make the difference. He's pitching and he's hitting, and he's extremely good at both.
Maybe we get somebody on to talk about it.
We could. That'd be a fun topic tomorrow or next week. Just saying, hey, like, what is so as a pitcher? 10-5 last year, 15-9 in 2021 with the Angels. He goes 9-2. He is, he strikes out over a batter per inning. So he's certainly at the very least above average pitcher, and would you not consider him an elite hitter, an elite offensive player? If he's also, it's not just hitting, he's stealing bases. So Ruth was in an era where you wouldn't steal as many bases, so he wouldn't have as many. But I'm just saying, like in 7 or 8 years from now, and yes, was it Peter that said that? Of course, injuries, longevity. But if he can play 15, I don't think it's like, well, he has to play 20 years. He has to play till he's 40. If he plays 15 years and he's a very good pitcher and an outstanding offensive player, how is he not the greatest player of all time?
And you look at the career average of Babe Ruth, 342 would be the hitting, the batting average.
His batting average was that high?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's impressive. I mean, the highest Shohei Ohtani got was 304. His current average is 277.
Right. He was 304 last year when he won the MVP.
I mean, I just think that baseballs is such a numbers game. That's the only thing that you could compare Babe Ruth to a current player with, because the game has changed. Everything's changed in sports.
Yes.
The only thing you can compare is the 342 batting average, the on-base percentage and the slugging percentage.
But just though the common, and this is why the 50-50, because I remember when Canseco was going for 40-40 stolen bases and home runs. That combination of power and speed is extremely unique. And it's actually difficult to do because if you hit a home run, you don't have a chance to steal a base. So you have to hit home runs and then still get on base a whole bunch more to steal bases. Now, today he's 6 for 6, so that's pretty good. He's given himself tons of opportunities. I know, it's just a fun chat.
Well, and
just like my 100-point defenseman. All of a sudden, I'm doing weird hypotheticals in the last hour of the show.
Well, even Babe Ruth's ERA was 2.28. Shohei Ohtani's career is 3.01.
Okay.
I mean,
all right. So he's only going to be the second best player.
I don't know if that's attainable.
He's only going to be the second best player of all time.
One would.
But if he can do both, then that's pretty unique. Anyway, fun chat there. As we, of course, are coming to you from the James H. Brown studio. James H. Brown Personal Injury Law Firm, the heavy hitters of injury law. With over 200 years of experience, James H. Brown will get you the settlement you deserve. Visit them at jameshbrown.com. Book your private consultation today. Tomorrow we're at Sit and Sleep. We'll have more from Oilers camp. We'll have more on the Elks Bombers game coming up. Talk some Golden Bears as well as they play Regina tomorrow night at Footfield. Quickly here, we will do the Duck update. I know the Duck, it is not the Duck's name, but McLean.
Daisy was in the house last night again. And, as a parent, parents will know this with young children. Sometimes there's nights where they just pile into your bed and there's no rhyme or reason as to why. But in your sleep-deprived state, you just say, screw it, bring them on. And that was the case. It was a full bed. And Daisy was chiming in a lot. It was not until it kind of started getting dark out that Daisy decided to go to sleep herself. So, it's like having a newborn, Reid. It's honestly like having a newborn. Mind you, we don't need to change any diapers. It just goes
where does the duck relieve itself?
Well, it's in a little bed area.
Does it know to go there?
No. Sometimes it relieves itself on the sweater of my wife.
At its convenience.
Yeah. There's no rhyme or no reason. It's just I'll have to get an update of a video. It's funny, it'll chase the girls around the house. Like it really wants to be close to them. So It's really neat. A video of a baby duck running is not the sound you think it would be.
Oh, no, I'm intrigued.
Well, it's like little like leather pads just going on the floor. Like it runs so fast, but it's the weirdest sound. I'll have to take a video of it.
Yeah, we'll have to get this on the show.
And my brother-in-law chimed in. He's my nephew is very involved in baseball, and so is my brother-in-law, obviously.
Oh, so good. So he has an opinion on this.
He says, I think for Ohtani, the big thing is how he's able to recover from his elbow surgery. Will he ever be the same pitcher as he was? Which is a great
fair point. Enough, but let me ask him this as a response. Even if he never pitches again, if he keeps producing offensively like he is for the next 7 to 10 years, would he still not be a top 10 player of all time? Top 15? I don't know.
Oh, I think the top 15 is definitely within striking distance if he keeps up this pace, but that's the only way that one could get to elite status, number one overall. The greatest baseball player of all time would be to be a pitcher and a hitter, a la Babe Ruth. And that is so rare. It's so rare to even see Ohtani doing what he's doing right now, albeit not at the clip that Babe Ruth did. But I guess never say never. But, that definitely is a concern as far as pitching goes, because that's a major part of his arsenal.
I'm just still trying to double check here. Who won the most MVPs? Because that would be a factor. Was it Bonds has 7? Bonds won 7 MVPs. Trout, Pujols, Rodriguez, Schmidt, Mantle, Campanella, Berra, Musial, DiMaggio, and Fox all have 3 MVPs. He already has 2. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to project him to win 4 or 5 MVPs, even if he just hits.
Yep. No, he could definitely become one of the greatest.
So if he has the second most MVPs after Barry Bonds, and I know there's other data that you'd have to use, but that's a good way to do it. How good were you compared to your peers? Well, if he plays 15 years in the majors and wins the MVP a third of the time, right? And then he doesn't have the juicing shadow over him like Bonds. I don't know.
It's funny that Barry Bonds is in this list like that. You know what I mean? Like, this is an ESPN made list.
But that's what I'm saying. He was so good even before he started. Like I remember reading that once, that he did all this. He did the stuff and started hitting all these home runs, and that if he'd retired in 98 or 99 or whatever, he's still probably a top 10 player of all time. I don't know. We're totally hypothetical here, and I wish my baseball knowledge was where it was. Pardon me. 12 or 15 years ago, because I'd have a better take on all this.
And one thing to think too here is, I mean, and this is in the nasty chat, and it's true. I mean, it's hard to compare.
But it's
humans
fun.
have gotten bigger. Humans have gotten stronger throughout, since the early 1900s to now. What was the speed of a fastball back then? But then was the reaction time the same? It's like, are you comparing apples to apples? Because your reaction time probably wasn't as fast. Right?
I think you have to just do a comparison of how dominant they were in their era.
I agree.
So I think that a poor or mediocre NHL team right now actually might do pretty good against the 1977 Montreal Canadiens.
Sure.
Because they're in better shape and
speed,
have better
size,
sticks and
fast, quickness.
Better. So I think you just have to do relative to the era. And relative to this era, Ohtani is special and dominant, as Babe Ruth was in his era. All right. We will wrap it up with goof-ups tonight. Jay, Chris Knobloch played wing, not D, as a player. I did not know what day we were on location and where.
I thought he was a defenseman with the Bears.
He was a winger. I took way too long to guess that Brian Leach was a 100-point defenseman, and I should have had the league save percentage ready when I was talking about Skinner and Pickard's save percentage. I did eventually get it, but I should have had it ready when I was talking about it.
When talking about whether Evan Bouchard could get to a 100-point defenseman, I said that would be rather amorous of you as opposed to ambitious. Amorous would be more of a sexual desire. which, has no place for me talking with, about Evan Bouchard. Ambitious was the word I was trying to get. And Reid, you referred to next Friday as the 20th, whereas tomorrow's the 20th. Next Friday is the 27th. And Zacticum, I know you have one.
I actually have one this time that I remembered, but during my sports update when I was wrapping it up and wanted to send it to commercials saying we're going to have a guest on, and it was defensive back Devodric Bynum, but I forgot the last name for a second. I had it right before I started reading everything, didn't have it written down. I'm like, Devodric. I practiced it for a little bit and then came into the spotlight. I said Devodric, rolled off the tongue easy. And I went, Bynum. Yes.
It was reversed.
Yes.
It was reversed. The Devodric was the hard one. It was the Bynum is very, that would
be easy.
Rolls off the tongue. But you know what? Nobody's perfect. We certainly aren't.
I just thought of how I should have teased that interview. Up next, we'll be joined by a DB named DB.
Oh.
Why did I think of that 2 hours too late? Hey, as always, Nasties, this was a blast. So live programming on EST returns at 6 a.m. with the Nielsen Show. We'll have the Hangout. Jay's on tomorrow. We got the Lock Shop. We got Oil Stream. We got Hernan and Gager at 1. And then we are back at 3 p.m. tomorrow live from Sit and Sleep. Thanks to Zach. Thanks to Jay. I'm Reid. Thanks for listening.
You've always known GCL Diesel as the experts in diesel fuel systems, but did you know that GCL is also your source for turbochargers and turbo repair? As a turbo supplier for Garrett, Borg Warner, and Wholesat, GCL can provide genuine original equipment turbos at wholesale prices. Whether it's diesel, gas, natural gas, or performance, we can provide you with the turbo or custom repair you require. Turbo questions? We've got turbo answers. Visit us in the West End or online at gcldiesel.com. GCL Diesel, turbochargers. Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.